Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Shinigami Thousand-Year Blood War. Chapter 1. The dusky sky, barren sand dunes, and simple colors form a barren land. This is the place left by the resentment after the death of human beings, named Hueco Mundo. Suddenly, another figure was teleported in this silent space. It was a snake-like creature with a white mask on his face. The whole body was silver white, and his body was about 3 meters long. Here is. The snake-like creature raised its head and looked at the gray surroundings, with a puzzled look on its face. But then the snake-like creature felt a lot of blurry pictures flashing in his mind. The first half of the screen is a young man in his 20s, commuting to and from get off work repeatedly every day. There are not many ups and downs in his life, and there is nothing worth mentioning. His biggest hobbies are watching anime, browsing Douyin, and playing with mobile phones. But at the last moment of the picture, this ordinary young man does something that he himself did not expect. He saves a little girl who fell into the water, but puts himself in it. If someone asks him if he regrets it now, he will say that he has no regrets about saving lives, but he wants to say, "I'm sorry." To his parents. The memory of the snake-like creature gradually became clearer. He first kowtowed to Dongfang 3 times, and then said, "Father, Mother, take care. Lin Sheng can only repay the kindness of your nurturing in the next life." Having said that, Lin Sheng still hopes to see his parents again one day, but at this time he doesn't even know where this place is. "I don't know if the heavens looked at me poorly and reincarnated me, but why didn't they just give me a human body? I'm not used to the body of a snake," Lin Sheng said to the windy sky. There wasn't even a sun here, but somehow it was daytime. Suddenly, the sand dunes on Lin Sheng's left side began to surge, and a spider-like monster came out, with a white mask on its face and a deep black hole in its abdomen. Is this monster a void? The monster in front of him gradually overlapped with an animation in Lin Sheng's memory. Roar! The spider screamed and rushed towards Lin Sheng. Lin Sheng dodged subconsciously, and a sharp spider leg slid across the position where he was just now. So close. Lin Sheng looked at the incomparably sharp forelegs of the spider, showing a look of survivors. But Zhu Shu obviously didn't intend to give him too much time to express his feelings. His huge body continued to rush forward, and it seemed that he didn't intend to let Lin Sheng's feast go. "If I was killed by a monster like you, wouldn't I be a box?" Lin Sheng also became fierce. Everyone was the lowest level Shu, as if they were afraid of others. Roar! Spider Shu basically has no intelligence at all, and only relies on instinct to attack. After dodging several attacks, Lin Sheng wound up from the spider's abdomen before he could react. At this moment, the offense and defense were instantly reversed. Lin Sheng's entire body began to squeeze hard, and the spider suddenly wailed. As Lin Sheng's strength grew, the spider Shu suddenly turned into a particle and dissipated between the heaven and the earth with a bang. Call out! One of the blue particles flew towards Lin Sheng and melted into his body. A sledgehammer. Wouldn't it be a curse attack? But before Lin Sheng checked carefully, he felt that his strength seemed to be stronger, and his body also tended to increase, but the increase was not obvious compared to his 3-meter-long body. Isn't that a curse attack just now? Lin Sheng also recalled it at this moment. Not only did he not become weak, but he seemed to become stronger. Could this be the reason why Shu fights each other? Then if I keep devouring it, will it change my current image? In Chinese legends, snakes can turn into anacondas, and anacondas can turn into Jiao Jiao after giving birth to their feet. Jiao is already a mythical creature, and finally it will transform from Jiao into a real dragon. It is not unacceptable to re-rancorize at that time. Anyway, as long as I continue to evolve, I will definitely be able to change this appearance, Lin Sheng said with certainty. After all, this is the world of Shinigami, not that kind of animal world, where everything is possible. In this life, you must at least stand above the gods, otherwise how can you be worthy of my identity as a time traveler? There are also guys like Aizen, King Ling, and Yuhabak. Let them understand what the real king of Hueco Mundo is. Lin Sheng secretly planned his future. However, the top priority is to first improve your strength and gain the ability to protect yourself. After all, Hueco Mundo is not a good place. Lin Sheng has not lost himself after planning the future, and plans to get rid of the current crisis first. After all, Hueco Mundo is better than him. There are countless powerful ones. Of course, if there is a chance, it is best to confirm which timeline it is currently in. In case Aizen has already become Hogyoku, just pretend that I didn't say anything before. In the boundless barren sand dunes, a long figure is sliding here. Suddenly, there was a human figure in front of him, and Lin Sheng was surprised. How could there be humans in Hueco Mundo? His outfit doesn't look like Shinigami and Arankar, but looks like an ordinary human in the city. Lin Sheng crawled over cautiously, and after seeing the figure with his back turned to him, he asked in a calm tone as much as possible, "Excuse me, are you a human lost here?" The figure with its back to Lin Sheng trembled, but it didn't turn around, nor did it reply to Lin Sheng. "Are you a human lost here?" Lin Sheng raised his voice, swam forward and asked again. As Lin Sheng approached and shouted, the figure slowly turned his head as if he finally heard the shout. It was a human face full of despair, and his face was full of tears, as if he wanted to say something to Lin Sheng. But then, the voice of this person turned into a terrifying low growl, and his body began to swell rapidly. Apart from the white mask on his face, there was also a big black hole in his chest, which was caused by the emptiness in his heart. Empty hole. At this time, no matter how dull Lin Sheng was, he could still react. This is the stage when people still have obsessions after death and are dragged into the stage where Hueco Mundo turns into nothingness. This monster that had just been transformed into Shu had completely lost its mind at this time, and rushed towards Lin Sheng crazily, as if it wanted to put all the resentment on the prey in front of it. Boom! The speed of this monster was even higher than that of Lin Sheng, and Lin Sheng was sent flying with one blow. It's just that there was a lack of strength. Lin Sheng just rolled on the sand and adjusted. Whoosh! Lin Sheng slid around the monster on the sand for a circle, and then he was about to tighten his body, but the monster jumped out ahead of time by instinct. The monster didn't give up after jumping out of the encirclement, and directly grabbed Lin Sheng's tail, trying to shake him up. But this time it hit Lin Sheng's arms, and before the monster could shake, Lin Sheng entangled him from the opposite direction. Not long after, under the pressure of Lin Sheng's entire body, the newborn monster disappeared directly between the sky and the earth, and a blue light spot entered Lin Sheng's body again. This guy's spiritual particles don't seem to increase as much as that spider shoe, and it seems that the stronger shoe can get more spiritual particles. Lin Sheng did not forget to conclude after the battle. After killing the newborn, Lin Sheng spent nearly a week exploring the area. During this period, he devoured a lot of beasts without intelligence, including one that looked like an alien, and his body size also increased to 4 meters. However, he also found a little difference between himself and other voids, that is, he has no empty holes. Is it because he is not empty? Well, it's true that I am not empty. I don't know if I am empty or not. After all, there is no way to show it now. For this problem, Lin Sheng soon paid no attention to it. It is a good thing for him not to have a void hole. After all, if he is facing such a black hole, it will make him rather uncomfortable. As Lin Sheng's strength became stronger and stronger, he probably had a little understanding of this area. This area is basically a nascent virtual territory. Relatively speaking, it is relatively safe. It's just that just after he came to this conclusion, he was slapped mercilessly in the face. There were 3 powerful reiatsu blowing towards his face, one of which even made Lin Sheng tremble. Carefully climbing up a sand dune, Lin Sheng looked over his head, and there were 3 black shadows walking towards him not far away. Boars, why are there so many primordial creatures around here? Could it be that you stole it? One of the rather huge humanoid creatures asked the beast-shaped creatures beside him. How is it possible, Lord Guy? Even if you give me 100 more guts, I wouldn't dare. The beast-named Birds hurriedly explained. You must know that the giant imaginary guy in front of him who is asking questions is the commander of this newborn land, and he, Birds, is helping Lord Guy to take care of this area. He thought that no one in this area dared to stroke Mr. Guy's beard, so he went to this world to steal some souls, and he just came back not long ago. But in the past few days, the area he was in charge of had lost so many newborns, and it just happened to catch up with Mr. Guy's hunting time. If he couldn't explain himself well, his life might be over. Roar. Just at this moment, a newborn ghost who had just successfully transformed rushed towards them. But without waiting for Birds and the others to react, the giant monster named Guy killed the newborn monster with a wave of his hand. So strong. Lin Sheng, who was watching this scene from a distance, swallowed. But the next scene made him feel strange. The human figure named Guy even picked up the mask of the newborn and ate it, and did not see any blue spirits floating out. It wasn't until the human figure named Guy engulfed the mask that the corpses scattered on the ground slowly dissipated in the sky and the earth. How is this going? Lin Sheng was puzzled by this scene. Could it be that my way of absorbing spiritual particles is different from other people? But let's study this matter later. For now, it's better to stay away from here. Judging from the situation, the giant void called Guy is probably the ruler of this area. And his strength is probably very strong. After all, from the perspective of Reiatsu, I am not even as good as the two next to him. Lin Sheng didn't hesitate anymore, and started to swim, ready to quickly get away from this dangerous place. But even though he was so careful, the figure named Guy still seemed to sense it. Here it can be seen that Lin Sheng lacks experience. It is necessary to know that the Shu who has reached a certain strength can release the detection circuit. If Lin Sheng remained still, with his sense of Reiatsu, Guy might not be able to detect the abnormality, but it is a pity that the current Lin Sheng does not understand the skill of detecting circuits. There is a Reiatsu wave nearby. Guy released his perception, and soon sensed the direction of Lin Sheng's departure. Go after it, whether it was done by this guy or not, bring him back. Guy ordered to the two of them. Yes, the two beasts let go of their hooves, and followed Lin Sheng in the direction where Lin Sheng left. Okay. Lin Sheng, who had already swam a certain distance, always felt a stabbing sensation behind his back, as if a crisis was approaching him. You didn't find me, did you? Lin Sheng looked behind him and said solemnly, immediately changed direction, and accelerated to the fastest speed to leave. But the sense of crisis behind him didn't disappear. On the contrary, he felt more and more dangerous, until he felt two waves of Reiatsu approaching rapidly. Not good. Sure enough, they came after me. Lin Sheng said hastily. The enemy coming from the rear was much faster than him. With this speed, a fierce battle might be inevitable, but there were two opponents and only one, so the odds of winning were really slim. Suddenly, he felt several strands of Reiatsu colliding in front of him, and it turned out that it was a few pups fighting in a melee. God send me too, as long as I devour these newly born spirit seeds, I dare not say that I can win, but at least there is a slight chance of winning. Thinking of this, Lin Sheng no longer hesitated, and rushed directly into these nascent battle circles. His strength is obviously superior to those of these Chushungshu, and the Chushungshu didn't cooperate with each other, and soon saw blue spirit particles blending into Lin Sheng's body. The originally 4-meter-long body grew again, and did not stop until it grew to 5 meters. This evolution has not only increased the body size, but also has a blurred picture similar to inherited memory in his mind. Is this Sero? As the picture in his mind gradually became clear, Lin Sheng cried out in surprise. He seemed to have mastered a great skill. Sero, as the name suggests, is a ray-like flash that bursts out from a highly concentrated Reiatsu, but this is a unique move that can only be used by Manos Grande or above Manos Grande. Opening square bracket. Lin Sheng's strength at this time can't be compared with Manos Grande at all, but he has mastered the Sero that Manos Grande can only use. Now we won't be hiding in Tibet. Learning Sero gave Lin Sheng great confidence. Instead of thinking about how to escape, he thought about how to defeat the chasing enemy. The transformation between the prey and the hunter is often only in an instant, and the waiting time reminded him of the story of waiting for a rabbit. But soon, Lin Sheng's thoughts were pulled back. A dog and a leopard were slowly approaching him. You guy, you can really run, but it took a lot of effort for us two brothers. Go Xingshu said through gritted teeth. He is Birds who guards this area. If the culprit is not caught this time, Sir Guy will definitely not let him go. It seems that there has been a battle here. Leopard Xingshu noticed that the spirits here were a little scattered, and then looked around cautiously. Fortunately, there were no other ghosts. This kind of guy looks like a newborn baby, just grab it and hand it over to Mr. Guy. Bird said nonchalantly. In this area, apart from Mr. Guy, there are no other giants at the commander level, and Bez the dog is not weak among the strong ones, so there is such an attitude. Qianglixu is more powerful than Chushungshu, and its characteristic is that it possesses wisdom. The giant void is a more powerful existence than the strong void, and is the strongest existence under Manos Grande. It is usually called the commander here in the birthplace, which is the so-called commander level. Leopard Shingshu nodded. It seemed that he didn't think there was anything nearby that could threaten their existence. Immediately, two voids, one left and one right, surrounded Lin Sheng. Watching the movements of the two, Lin Sheng remained silent. At this moment, Reiatsu from his whole body was condensing in his mouth, waiting for the enemy to approach before giving a fatal blow. And this scene, in the eyes of birds and others, thought that Lin Sheng was frightened stupid by the powerful Reiatsu of the two of them. After the two approached a certain distance, their speed instantly increased, and they rushed towards Lin Sheng at lightning speed, with the faster leopard Shingshu taking the lead. But just when Lin Sheng was about to launch Sero at him, leopard Shingshu subconsciously stopped as if he sensed danger. In desperation, Lin Sheng could only turn his head and point at birds beside him. Call out! A red light beam shot out from Lin Sheng's mouth, and instantly hit the unknown dog-shaped Zubozi. Boom! A huge roar sounded, and the position where the dog-shaped virtual Bezi was located instantly turned into a touch of charcoal, and traces of hot air radiated upwards. Even Lin Sheng himself didn't expect this blow. The Sero condensed from his Reiatsu alone would be so powerful, it's hard to imagine how terrible the scene would be if it was used on the Manos Grande. But then, Lin Sheng felt a sense of exhaustion all over his body. He just released Sero and emptied all the spiritual power in his body. False Sero. This scene frightened leopard Shingshu. If he hadn't subconsciously stopped just now, he might have died. And isn't Sero only available to Manos Grande and above? What's up with this guy? Just when leopard Shingshu was about to escape, he suddenly found that the snake Shingshu seemed a little weak, and Reiatsu dropped to an extremely weak point. Could it be that this snake can only send out Sero once? Leopard Shingshu analyzed. He immediately thought, if he swallowed this guy and could learn Sero, maybe even Mr. Guy would not be his opponent. It can even replace Guy to dominate this area. The temptation from strength made leopard Shingshu give up the idea of escaping, and instead stepped on catwalks, cautiously approaching Lin Sheng, who was collapsed on the ground. He was afraid that Lin Sheng would send him another Sero, although the probability of that was very small. Lin Sheng, who was lying on the ground, also felt that the leopard was approaching, but he didn't have any strength in his body at the moment. Suddenly, a blue light spot flew from the position where the dog Shingshu was just now, and was directly sucked into Lin Sheng's body, making him feel the majestic power in his body again. This power, Lin Sheng murmured, the spirit particles sucked in this time far exceeded those obtained from Chushungshu. And the leopard that was crawling forward seemed to be unable to see the blue light spot. He raised his paw, ready to stab the dying Lin Sheng. But suddenly, he found that the snake-like body was actually growing, and even Reiatsu was growing rapidly. How is this going? Before leopard Shingshu could react, he found that the snake in front of him quickly bounced up and engulfed his body. Not good. Leopard suddenly felt bad, and struggled vigorously, but at this time he had lost the opportunity. No matter what, he could not break free from Lin Sheng's shackles. It's over. As Lin Sheng's words sounded, his body curled up and tightened instantly, and a powerful force began to squeeze inward. Oh no! Amidst leopard Shingshu's screams, a blue spirit particle flew into Lin Sheng's body again. This caused Lin Sheng's body to directly grow to a length of 6 meters, and there were 4 raised parts faintly on his abdomen. Just as Lin Sheng felt this new power, a puff of smoke rose in the distance. 20 shares. Do not. At least 30 powerful Reiatsu strands are approaching. Most of the Reiatsu are about the same strength as the leopard Shingshu just now, but there is one Reiatsu that is extremely powerful. Lin Sheng suddenly felt bad, and didn't care about feeling the newly acquired strength. Before the other party arrived, he crawled in the opposite direction with all his strength. The person who came was the giant Shu Gian. Not long after birds and the others set off, the subordinates who participated in the hunt gathered over one after another. Then he led Shu Kyun and followed behind birds and the others. If birds and the others caught the culprit, the hunt would continue, and if birds didn't catch the guy, they were all prey on this trip. Guy's strength is extremely powerful. At the same time, as a commander-level giant, he also has many powerful ghosts under his command. In this birthplace where Manos Grande is not obvious, he is the sky here. Suddenly, a beast that was running next to him came up. Master Guy, we are about to leave the area of the birthplace ahead, do we still have to chase? Hearing this, Guy hesitated for a moment. Hueco Mundo Wilderness is a place where Manos Grande haunts. However, when he realized that his subordinates were all looking at him, his face suddenly became a little helpless, and he said angrily, "Of course I have to chase after him, there is no one who can still survive after messing with my guy." Hearing this order, Xingshu immediately drove Lin Sheng out of the area of the birthplace. Lin Sheng, who was flying so fast in front of him, also noticed the difference at this time. The surrounding environment seemed to have changed. First, the ground seemed to be starting to firm up. As he went forward, the amount of sand became less and less, and various giant rocks began to appear along the way. It was obvious that he had left the range of the sand dunes. I'm afraid this is not the place where I was born. But why are those guys still chasing after me? Looking at the huge Manos Grande group getting closer and closer behind him, Lin Sheng complained a little unwillingly. What kind of blood feud is this? Even after chasing him until now, he still hasn't given up. When the distance between the two sides was only more than 10 meters, the giant Shu Gian took a super long jump and came to the front of Lin Sheng. This forced Lin Sheng to stop, but then he fell into the encirclement of the Void group. You guys are so brave. Not only did you prey on my territory, but you even killed my subordinates. Guy's terrifying big mouth opened and closed, and let out a deafening roar. You actually angered Mr. Guy. Even if you have 10 lives today, you won't be able to escape. That's right, he's going to die today, but before he dies, he must be made to suffer. The surrounding Zukan also began to curse and shout. If this kid hadn't angered Lord Guy, how could they have followed him so far? They must let him try his best. Lin Sheng looked around at the enemies around him, and his mouth was full of Reiatsu. Even if he was doomed today, he would bring a group of funeral companions. Are you so scared that you can't speak? The giant virtual guy taunted, and then waved to the group of subordinates. Tear him apart. After receiving the order, Kyunsu immediately rushed forward, fearing that they would not be able to grab Lin Sheng's mask if it was too late. Call out. With a bang, a red glow flashed from Lin Sheng's mouth. Boom, boom, boom. The red light beam was like a destructive sword, and it swept across 5 powerful people in an instant, causing 3 deaths and 2 injuries. Hiss. The crowd was shocked immediately, and scattered in all directions at a faster speed than when they came. What's going on? Shu Sero. Even the giant Shu guy was frightened by this blow, and even flinched a bit. But then, he discovered that Lin Sheng's Reiatsu was descending extremely fast, and he immediately realized that this move might not be able to be released many times. Then he looked at the subordinates who were fleeing in all directions, and cursed angrily, "You trash, why are you running? He can only be released once." But Kyunshu was obviously scared out of his wits. Although he stopped his escape, he only dared to linger in the distance. Obviously he had lingering fears about the scene just now. Just now that was a unique move that only Manos Grande could release. Facing a higher level Manos Grande, it would be better to fight with Shinigami, at least there is no level suppression. Seeing the appearance of all the subordinates, the giant Shu-En immediately shouted, "You trash, I have to do it myself." After finishing speaking, he took his steps and walked towards Lin Sheng impatiently. Obviously, his shot was not just because of the panic of his subordinates, but for another purpose. Ha ha ha, as long as I devour you, I have a chance to learn Sero, and then I will be invincible under Manos Grande. The giant Shu-En laughed and rushed towards Lin Sheng. At this moment, Lin Sheng's Reiatsu suddenly rose sharply, and his size began to gradually increase. A red flash flashed from his mouth again, and shot towards the giant void guy. It turned out that this time Lin Sheng didn't release all Reiatsu at once, he had been waiting for an opportunity. While waiting for the 3 powerful spirits, they were also waiting for Guy's approach. As long as the giant virtual guy is dealt with first, the rest of the virtual are experience babies for him. Facing the Sero issued by Lin Sheng again, the giant vanity guy felt the crisis of death. At this moment, his subjective consciousness has stopped thinking, but the instinctive consciousness of his body is still there, and he subconsciously shifted a little to the left. Call out. The red Sero arcs into the sky. Lin Sheng said inwardly that it was not good, the killing blow was dodged, and he did not get the replenishment of spirit seeds again. Ah Guy's roar sounded again. Although he avoided the deadly head just now, Sero still grazed his right shoulder, and his innate skill steel skin had no effect under the blow just now. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to make you miserable. I'm going to tear you apart. The angry guy launched a retaliatory attack on Lin Sheng regardless of the wound. Boom! A huge foot stepped on Lin Sheng instantly, causing him to spurt out a mouthful of blood. But that's not all. Guy's vengeance is much more than that. Every blow he makes shakes the place. Guy was ready to eat Lin Sheng's mask when he had only one breath left. If you want to blame you for offending Shu who shouldn't be offended. The giant Shu Gian mentioned Lin Sheng and said to him, hateful. I never thought I would die in this way. Facing the ferocious Guy, Lin Sheng thought unwillingly. Just when Guy thought he was sure of winning, just when Lin Sheng thought he couldn't escape today. A crisp voice sounded, oh, there is a little white snake here, could it be your relative, Sun Sun? It must be Sun Sun's relative, maybe it's her son, no wonder he looks so similar. Another female voice sounded. When did the two of you wear a pair of pants, you two ugly monsters? Another coquettish voice scolded. You. When the two female voices were still about to say something, a cold and majestic female voice sounded. Okay. Immediately, the two previous voices were suppressed. It was only at this time that the giant virtual Guy En and Lin Sheng with half-opened eyes saw the person coming. There are 4 figures in total, namely the yellow golden lion, the elk, the white boa constrictor, and the human-shaped king shark. The 3 animal-shaped Reiatsu alone are many times stronger than Guy En. As for the rather aloof human-shaped Huang Yushu, standing there so simply, there is a feeling of suffocation. Could it be Manos Grande? Do not. At least Manos Grande at Ijuka's level. Harry Bell. Lin Sheng, who was caught in the air, murmured after seeing the comber clearly. The Hurley Bell in his mouth is the 3rd Espada in the original book, with long blonde hair, brown skin, green eyes, and a plump bust. Although there is no Arankar at this time, the appearance of the humanoid Huang Yushu in front of me is very similar to it, and Huang Yushu who has reached the Ijuka's level or above. I am afraid that Hawako Mundo can't find a few overlaps. Oh, I actually know your name. The yellow golden lion Zumira Ross said incredulously. Sure enough, he must have something to do with Sun Sun, otherwise how could he know these things? Sun Sun, whom Apache pointed at, said without thinking the matter was a big deal. I am Lord Hurley Bell, I really don't have it. Now the white snake Shu Sun Sun was also a little anxious, wanting to justify something to Hurley Bell. I believe in Sun Sun, Hurley Bell said blankly, but Sun Sun was deeply moved. At this time, Guy En and the other subordinates looked at each other in blank dismay, not daring to move around at will, nor did they dare to disturb their conversation. Soon, the 4 of Hurley and Bell walked in front of Guy En and Lin Sheng. Compared with the surrounding huge Shu, Hurley Bell looked very petite. She is about 1.75 meters tall at this time, and most of it is on her legs. It is said that above Manos Grande, the higher the level of hollow, the more human-like the body is. I don't know if this is the reason. My lord. Guy lowered his huge head, not even daring to look directly at the man in front of him. Put him down. Hurley Bell's cold and majestic voice came again. But, the giant virtual Guy wanted to explain something, he just gave up the prey he got a little bit unwillingly. Don't you understand Lord Hurley Bell's words? Hurry up and get out. The yellow golden lion at the side, Mira Rhodes, scolded. Yes, yes, yes. The giant virtual Guy didn't dare to say any more, put down Lin Sheng in his hand, and left with all his subordinates in a state of embarrassment. In fact, he didn't know, that is, he met Hurley Bell and his party. If he met other Manos Grande, he would have been killed long ago. This is because Harry Bell's philosophy is sacrifice. He believes that in the process of pursuing sacrifice, he must pay the price of sacrifice, so he will not easily cause killing. Boy, tell me what is the relationship between you and Sun Sun? Apache Maluksu asked impatiently. Apache, your terrifying face scares people. The white snake Shu Sun Sun taunted at the right time. Not long after, even the yellow golden lion Zumula Rhodes joined the quarrel, and it really was a scene of 3 women. Hurley Bell didn't stop this time. The 3 of them have been like this since they got acquainted, but despite their quarreling, their relationship is very good. Hurley Bell glanced at Lin Sheng lying on the ground, after realizing that he was having a hard time even speaking. She continued to walk forward without any indication. It seemed that she was really passing by here. Seeing this, Apache, Mira Rhodes, and Sun Sun, who were arguing, immediately followed. "Thank you." Lin Sheng, who was lying on the ground, finally said a word with difficulty. Hearing this "thank you," Hurley Bell's figure paused for a moment, but he quickly adjusted and left unswervingly. To her, this is just a trivial matter, the kind that may even be forgotten after a while. It's just that I didn't expect that there would be a time to say thanks, which is probably the only one in Hueco Mundo. After Hurley Bell and his party left, Lin Sheng also moved. He can't stay here forever, even if Guy and the others don't go and come back. If someone else passes by here, it will be bad luck for him. But this meeting with Hurley Bell made him sure of one thing, that is, Aizen has not come to Hueco Mundo, otherwise what he saw today was a ronkerized Hurley Bell. There is still time. As long as you steadily improve your strength, you will definitely be able to occupy a place in the future. After that, after 3 days of cultivation, Lin Sheng was alive and well again. That is to say, being a virtual body can heal so quickly. If the ordinary summoning soul was injured so severely, the spirit body would have dissipated long ago. The Hueco Mundo wilderness is often haunted by Manos Grande, and it is very likely that you will encounter Guy's siege when you return to the birthplace. Lin Sheng is considering the current situation. He wants to improve his strength as soon as possible, but how to improve is a problem. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration came to Lin Sheng's mind, and he thought of a good place. It's better to go to the present world. Manos Grande is rare in the present world, and the Shinigami guarding it should not be very strong. It is suitable for me now. Thinking of this, Lin Sheng immediately moved. He didn't dare to go deep into the Hueco Mundo wilderness, so he explored several locations near the birthplace. Sure enough, hard work paid off. After many attempts, he finally found a weak point in space, and successfully opened the dark cavity leading to the present world. The black cavity is an essential skill for entering and exiting Hueco Mundo. Whether entering or exiting, you need to tear the space to open the black cavity, which is the same principle as Shinigami's world transmitting gate. But the black cavity also has strengths and weaknesses. The black cavity opened by Arankar in the original book can directly reach any place in the world from the Void Knight Palace. Not only is the channel stable, but there is also a broken boundary support in the middle. For Lin Sheng's level of Shu, it is much more complicated to open the black cavity. First of all, he has to find the weak point in the outer space of Hueco Mundo, and after repeated attempts, he can get through the dark cavity to the present world. Not to mention that there is no boundary support in the middle, and the way of going out is more like being sent out randomly with the help of Hueco Mundo's rules. As for negation, there is no need to think about it, it is a way to get people above Manos Grande. In the present world, Hiroshima Prefecture. It looks like a depression here, there are not many people passing by on the street, and everyone's face is disheveled. Suddenly, a black crack opened in the originally clear sky. In this crack, a silver-white snake-like creature rushed out. However, the crowd below seemed to be unable to see this scene, and no one expressed surprise. "I miss you so much." Lin Sheng, who broke out of the dark voice, said with emotion while looking at the blue sky and white clouds in this world. The environment of Hueco Mundo is really harsh, far worse than the present world, and for him who retains his memory, this is the familiar world. I don't know where this place is. It seems that the development level is a bit backward. Lin Sheng casually landed on the roof of a building, observing this town-like place. The floors here are very low, the highest is only 4 or 5 floors, and there are not many concrete buildings, most of them are old-fashioned wooden houses. Suddenly, the pedestrians on the road stopped. There was panic, even fear, on their faces. "What happened? Have you found me?" Lin Sheng became puzzled. Immediately afterwards, he discovered that the source of everyone's panic was not him, but a plane in the sky. Strangeness. What's so scary about airplanes? But the next scene made him take back this idea, even a little shocked. Because on the distant coastline, a huge mushroom cloud rises up, even standing at such a far place can feel the strong air current, and even the shaking of the earth. No way. Lin Sheng was a little at a loss, no wonder he felt a little backward in this world, but he was actually in this era. The world at this time is at the end of the war era, and what is unfolding before Lin Sheng's eyes is the most terrifying weapon of mankind. Years of wars have not only caused suffering in the world, but also created a large number of souls, of which only a small part went to the soul society through soul burial. And most of the souls are either transformed into emptiness, or hide somewhere and refuse to leave. Some of them have nowhere to go, and some just want to linger in familiar places. For example, in this small town, Lin Sheng saw a shivering little girl, and seeing her like this, she must have been wandering here for a long time. "Don't eat me." After seeing Lin Sheng's mask, the little girl immediately shrank into a corner, crying with horror on her face. But for her, Lin Sheng just looked at her out of curiosity, and did not further harm the little girl, because his target was the alien who was attracted by the little girl. Roar. A strange-shaped ghost gradually approached here, and he found that there was actually a similar one here. However, his subconscious mind believed that this kind of person in front of him might be difficult to deal with, but he didn't want to give up the food he got, so he roared at Lin Sheng, hoping to scare him away with his aura. "Hey, you still dare to yell at me?" Lin Sheng said with some dissatisfaction. Is everyone so brave in this world? They didn't even care about the levels of both sides. Although the strength of this alien is not bad, I am afraid that he has devoured souls in this world. If he is really given a period of time, he must be able to give birth to wisdom soon. But what he was facing was Lin Sheng, who had already been promoted to Chinlixu, an existence that was a full level higher than him. "It's just right, let you be the first power I got after I arrived in this world." Facing the roar of the alien, Lin Sheng approached it nonchalantly. But his approach not only did not frighten the alien, but made him furious. Roar. The alien landed on all fours and rushed towards Lin Sheng. But just as he was about to approach Lin Sheng, a tail that looked like a steel whip swung over. Boom. Sound. Xingshu's 4 to 5 meter tall body was directly hit by Lin Sheng's tail, hitting a house on the side of the road. Crash. The alien shook his head and stood up again. The broken boards on his body kept falling down, but there was no scar on his body. "The body is quite hard." Lin Sheng commented. He didn't hold back just now. Could it be that this alien has already learned the steel skin? No wonder they don't take their strength seriously. Steel skin, that is, shoe's surface skin, can be used as armor to protect the body. This skill usually appears on the giant shoe of the first level of command. However, the hardness of each virtual steel skin is different. In the original book, the steel skin with the strongest hardness is the 5th Espada Ritra. After realizing that Lin Sheng's attack was not enough to hurt him, Alien Shu became even more violent. He jumped up quickly, and actually directly pounced on Lin Sheng's head from midair. It seemed that he was very confident in his steel skin. It's just that this time he hit the iron plate, and a red light beam formed by the condensed spiritual particles struck instantly. Call out. Sero, which contains a huge reiatsu, penetrated the mask of the alien without any suspense, until it turned into a red light and dissipated between the sky and the earth. Not long after, a group of blue spirit particles was sucked into Lin Sheng's spiritual body, causing his body to grow again, especially the 4 raised parts of the abdomen, where the outlines of the claws could be vaguely seen. What surprised Lin Sheng the most was that he also learned the skill of steel skin, which further enhanced his strength. Just when Lin Sheng tried the power of the steel skin, on a street not far from him, a human in clean white clothes asked in surprise, "Sero, could it be that Manos Grande has come to this world?" He is Ishida Sozuru, one of the only surviving Quincy masters in the world, and he is also Ishida Yuryu's grandfather. Quincy divisions are scattered all over the world and have a long history of thousands of years to eliminate demons. They can use the weapons formed by spirit particles to completely destroy Shu. Just now Ishida Zongxian was shocked by the power of the mushroom cloud, so he didn't come back to his senses until Sero passed in front of him. However, although he recognized Sero, he quickly left in the opposite direction because the 5 reiatsu whom he hated were approaching. Sure enough, shortly after he left, in the distant sky, several black figures were approaching at high speed in this direction. These Reiatsu. Could it be a real Shinigami? At this time, Lin Sheng also noticed that several powerful Reiatsu were approaching. This made him immediately plan to evacuate. With his current strength, even if he encounters an officer-level Shinigami, he might not be able to please him. And his purpose does not conflict with these Shinigami, there is no need to fight here. After glancing at the little girl, Lin Sheng quickly left the place. Not long after Lin Sheng left, 5 Shinigami dressed in black death tyrants appeared here stepping on Shunpo. It seems that Manos Grande has left. A man with black hair, blue pupils, and a swirled tattoo on his left wrist said after observing. Vice Captain Shiba, why does Manos Grande appear in this world? Don't Manos Grandes usually live in Hueco Mundo? A Shinigami with afro hair asked inexplicably. Maybe it's because of the soaring flame. The man with the vortex tattoo looked at the long-lasting mushroom cloud in the sky and said heavily. Hearing the man's words, several other Shinigami also looked in the direction of the mushroom cloud. Now they are busy, and they don't know how many souls are going to be sent into the Soul Society. This group of people is the 13th division sent by the Soul Society to the present world, and the man with the Uzumaki tattoo is called Shiba Kyan, who is the vice captain of the 13th division. Because Jishiro Yukitaki, the captain of the 13th squad, has been in poor health for a long time, he led the team to support the present world. As for the Shinigami with the explosive head, he is called Yoshinosuke Chetani, the 7th officer of the 13th division, and one of the Shinigami who supported the present world this time. In the process of rushing to the incident this time, they found that there were Sero fluctuations here, so they came to investigate. Vice Captain Shiba, shall we go now? Yoshinosuke Kuretani asked Shiba Kyan, who was thinking. Help this little girl's soul bury first, or he will encounter the same thing as before. Shiba Kyan said, looking at the shivering little girl in front of him. Soul burial refers to the ceremony where Shinigami sends the soul to the Soul Society, and it is also the work of Shinigami. Seeing that the little girl was a little nervous, Shiba Kyan showed a gentle smile. He knelt down and asked softly, little sister, what's your name? Why have you been hiding here? Can you tell big brother? Seeing that they didn't look like bad guys, the little girl cautiously said to Kaido, my name is Ayako, and I'm waiting for my sister here. Then where did your sister go? Shiba Kyan touched her head tenderly and asked again. The little girl, that is, Ayako, gradually relaxed with the chat at this time, and whispered, after I was suppressed by these houses, my sister ran out to call for help. When everyone heard this, they subconsciously looked at the ruins of a house next to them. Under the ruins, they could still see the corners of their clothes. Then what's your sister's name? Shiba Kyan continued to ask, unable to bear to expose the fact that she was dead. My sister's name is Nanako. My sister told me to wait for her here, and she will definitely come back to save me. Ayako said seriously with a small face. Hearing this, Shiba Kyan looked at a rather perturbed Shinigami player behind him, who was the Shinigami stationed in charge of this area. The Shinigami had a bad expression on his face, and said with a hint of apology, Vice Captain Shiba, the woman named Nanako is on the other street, nope. What's going on? Don't hesitate. Shiba Kyan said with a raised tone. The Shinigami was a little unhappy seeing the Shiba Vice Captain, and hurriedly said, but I was also crushed under the ruins, because there were too many souls here at that time, so I didn't ask them about their obsessions but sent them to Soul Society. Shiba Kyan nodded, and didn't say much. Of course, there is no way to take into account all the obsessions of the soul under special circumstances, and this situation also happens. This made the Shinigami heave a sigh of relief. After all, before the soul burial, it is necessary to help the soul resolve its obsessions, but judging by the appearance of Shiba's vice captain, it seems that he does not intend to pursue this matter. After confirming Nanako's situation, Shiba Kyan turned around and continued to say to Ayako, little sister, can the big brother take you to the Soul Society? Your sister is already waiting for you there. Is my sister there? That's fine. Although Ayako didn't know where Soul Society was, she agreed without hesitation when she heard her sister was there. Shiba Kyan pulled out his own Zanpakuto, and pointed at Ayako's forehead with the handle. Suddenly, a strange white light lit up, and a word, soul, appeared on Ayako's forehead. As the white light fades, a hell butterfly slowly flies into the sky, and she will fly all the way to Soul Society, to the world where her sister is. Let's go, Shiba Kyan said in a deep voice. How many such souls there are in front of them. The 5 black figures seemed to suddenly appear here, and suddenly disappeared again. At this time, Lin Sheng, who had already left, didn't know that he had escaped again. If he ran into Shiba Kyan and his party, he would definitely not be able to escape easily with his current strength. From this day on, the peculiar human beings who can see the soul in this world have discovered a strange thing. That is, there is a silver white snake that actually protects human souls. Not only did he not harm the general summoning souls, but he also attacked those virtual groups that attacked. This silver white snake is naturally Lin Sheng, but obviously, people in this world have a slight misunderstanding of him. He doesn't attack human souls. That's because ordinary summoning souls can increase spiritual power very little, and it's even negligible for him. Instead of wasting time looking for these ordinary summoning souls, it's better to hunt and kill a few virtual ones really. As for why some people say that he is protecting these human souls, it is because he thinks that the probability of finding voids near these souls is higher. So he lurks near it. Wherever there are many souls, he will go there. Once the void appears, he can't wait to devour it, so it creates an amazing illusion. Of course, he would never dare to go to the site of the nuclear explosion, because there are too many high-intensity Reiatsu there. Finally, after absorbing a strong head, Lin Sheng ushered in evolution, and his body began to grow, growing to more than 10 meters long. The original snake's head also began to change, gradually changing into the shape of a bull's head, and the mask on the face began to extend toward the neck, forming a series of beard-like shapes. But the biggest change is the abdomen, where 4-legged eagle claws grow. Overall, Lin Sheng has completely changed the image of the snake, making it more like a shrunken dragon. Haha. Finally reached the commanding level. Lin Sheng was very happy to see his image change drastically. This time, not only his strength has been upgraded to the commander level, but his appearance is even more heroic than before. However, it was also because of the Reiatsu that erupted when he evolved, which aroused the vigilance of the nearby Shinigami, and soon there were Reiatsu approaching in all directions. It's a giant void. Don't let him go. Contact Vice Captain Shiba. The gathered 12 Shinigami pulled out Zanhundao one after another, surrounded Lin Sheng, and one Shinigami was talking to the communicator. Shiba. Vice Captain. Could it be Shiba Kyan? Lin Sheng was surprised. I didn't expect to meet a familiar character again, but Shiba Kyan is not weak. It is estimated that it will not take much trouble to slash Manos Grande, so it is better to leave as soon as possible. I chose a direction at random, and it was a position guarded by a small Shinigami. Let's break out from here. One of the Bakudo, Sai. The fourth of Bakudo, Rope. Seeing that Lin Sheng was about to escape, the Shinigami who came under siege issued Bakudo one after another. Bakudo, one of the basic abilities of Shinigami, belongs to the Kido system, mainly based on binding and imprisonment. Lin Sheng, who was about to break out, suddenly found his body tensed, and a light cord made of spiritual particles trapped him. Is this Bakudo? Ability is quite interesting. But just this level of Bakudo, Lin Sheng is too underestimated. Roar. Lin Sheng let out a roar, and shook off all the restraints on his body. But just as his attention was drawn to Bakudo, a bearded Shinigami brandished Zanpakudo and slashed at his body. Ding! Where Zanpakudo slashed, sparks burst out. Everyone, be careful, this virtual weapon is very powerful. The bearded Shinigami immediately reminded everyone after seeing the hardness of the steel skin. But obviously it was too late. After seeing these Shinigami desperately trying to stop him, Lin Sheng also became angry, and his powerful body began to rampage, knocking 2 Shinigami into the air in an instant. Then with a flick of the tail, a Shinigami who was trying to attack from behind was hit in the head directly, and fell down without knowing whether he was alive or dead. One of Hado, Rush. Hado number 4, Shirai. Several Linksys condensed attacks hit Lin Sheng, but unfortunately they were all blocked by Lin Sheng's powerful steel skin, which made him feel painless. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Sheng, who was like a dragon, fought back against the Shinigami by relying on the hardness of the steel skin. In just an instant, half of the Shinigami fell dead or wounded, along with a few blue spirits. What's the situation? Killing Shinigami can also get spirits. I'm afraid this is not a virtual ability. Is it a cheat God gave me? Lin Sheng was pleasantly surprised when he learned that he could even absorb Shinigami's spiritual seeds. What a surprise. Hateful. After the bearded Shinigami realized that even with his own reminder, his side had suffered heavy losses, he immediately became furious and no longer held back. Shake it, Skyhammer. I saw a white light from the Zanpakuto in the bearded man's hand, and as the white light dissipated, a sledgehammer appeared in his hand. And at this moment, the Reiatsu of the bearded Shinigami improved several times. This also attracted Lin Sheng's attention. He didn't expect that there would be Shinigami who knew Shikai here. But it was just surprise, not the slightest fear. After all, Lin Sheng was also very confident in his own strength. However, during the battle, he realized that he had underestimated the enemy. Every time the bearded hammer hit him, the force of the blunt weapon made him feel dizzy. The hammer of the bearded man naturally restrained his steel skin. Boom! It was another powerful hammer blow, and Lin Sheng was directly hammered to the ground, knocking down a pile of buildings along the way. It's so strong. It really deserves to be the 8th seat of Yangon. The little Shinigami who was first selected by Lin Sheng as the direction to break through showed an expression of admiration. Yangon is the name of the Shinigami with the big beard, and the 8th seat is the 8th seat of the 13 divisions, which is considered a relatively powerful seat. Ha ha. Yan Gang laughed out loud after hearing the compliments from his teammates. He was also very satisfied with his strength. Crash! Lin Sheng's body of more than 10 meters climbed up again. Although the blow just now did not cause any damage to him on the surface, the damage it caused to his body was beyond imagination. Go to hell. After seeing Lin Sheng get up again, Yan Gang held a hammer in both hands, and hit Lin Sheng's head from a high altitude. Hammer it to death. Roar. Lin Sheng let out a loud roar, and then opened his mouth wide at the flying Yangon, and a series of red spirits quickly gathered. What? Yan Gang maintained his swinging motion, looking at the approaching red light beam, and said in disbelief. Boom! There was a sudden violent explosion in midair. This was the first time Lin Sheng used Sero with all his strength after he was promoted to the commander level. The power was different from before. Iwago 8 seats. All the Shinigami members shouted after watching this scene, especially the little Shinigami. Iwago 8 seats is someone he admires. At this moment, there are several Reiatsus approaching quickly in the distance, one of which is very powerful, and it is the same group as the Reiatsu that Lin Sheng met earlier. Regardless of checking the situation of Shinigami with the hammer, Lin Sheng raised all fours and flew away in an instant. Not long after he left, a blue light cluster rose from the place where Yan Gang fell, and quickly followed Lin Sheng away. After Shiba Kyan and his group arrived, the Shinigami who survived by chance realized that the other side was scared away when they found the assistance of Shiba's vice-captain. I should have prevented that Shu from escaping just now. The little Shinigami said a little unwillingly. His name was Shao Kang, and he had been taken care of by Iwago 8th seat since he entered the 13th division. How's the situation? Where's Iwago Hachiya? Shiba Kyan saw all the dead Shendu in a panic, and he didn't find Iwago Hachiko's Reiatsu, so he already had a bad feeling. Iwago 8 seats were killed by that empty-headed Sero just now, as well as Yoshikawa and the others, said one of the Shinigami who was still intact, choked up. At this time, Yangon Bashi's body was also carried by Shao Kang and others. Many parts of the body were burnt to charcoal, and it was barely recognizable from the outline as Yangon Bashi's spirit body. I didn't expect the Iwago 8 seats to be here, Yoshinosuke Kuretani who arrived together said sadly. He is the 7th seat of the 13th squad, and he and the 8th seat Yan Gang often bicker with each other, and neither of them agrees with the other. But who would have thought that Yan Gang, who was so careless to challenge his position as the chief executive, had already buried his bones in a foreign land? With the strength of the giant void, can it still send out Sero? Although Shiba Kyan also had a sad expression, he still did not forget to analyze Lin Sheng's strength. Suddenly he seemed to think of something. Yanasuke 7 seats, do you still remember that the Sero we found in Hiroshima Prefecture is probably made by this guy? From Vice Captain Shiba's words, it seems to be true. Yoshinosuke Chetani also remembered this matter, and found that the two were indeed compatible. If we had been faster at that time, we would have been able to kill that head earlier, so that Iwago Hachishi would not have been sacrificed. Shiba Kyan said with a bit of self-blame. Vice Captain Shiba, it's not your fault. After all, there were still hundreds of thousands of souls that needed to be resettled. All the Shinigami comforted. Anyway, this head can't be allowed to continue to make trouble. Shiba Kyan put away his sad expression. At this moment, Yoshinosuke Seven Chairs remembered a recent rumor that Yushu was not only protecting the soul, but also attacked Shu, and the appearance of Yushu in the rumor was very similar to that described by Ogura and others. But when he told these rumors, he was reprimanded by the always gentle Vice Captain Shiba. Nothing is nothing, no matter how much you hide it, it can't change the evil in their hearts. 7 seats of Yoshinosuke, I don't want to hear any more remarks about this, and please remember, you are a Shinigami. Faced with Shiba Kyan's reprimand, Yoshinosuke stopped talking about it immediately. He almost forgot that Shiba Kyan was a nobleman, and his views were different from those of commoners. Seeing that Yoshinosuke stopped mentioning this matter, Shiba Kyan became the gentle vice captain again. He patted Yoshinosuke on the shoulder and said, "The 7 seats of Yoshinosuke, as Shinigami, we shoulder the heavy responsibility of guarding the soul society in this world, so we must not be shaken." Hearing what Vice Captain Shiba said, Yoshinosuke Kuretani seemed to understand, but also seemed not to understand, nodded and said, "Vice Captain Shiba, I understand." Seeing this, Shiba Kyan nodded in satisfaction. Afterwards, his face turned serious, and he ordered to the other Shinigami, "Hiroshima Prefecture is temporarily stationed by Kama. Take 5 seats, but there are currently insufficient manpower. You are divided into 2 parts, some of you are going to support Kamatake Goshi, some of you are going to transport the spirit bodies of Iwago Hachi and others back to the Soul Society, and Yoshinosuke Goshi will stay and help me stop that head." Yes. Hearing Shiba's vice captain's order, all the staff put away their sorrow and started to move. Most of the personnel went to the 13th Division station in Hiroshima Prefecture, while Shaogora and others left the spirit bodies of Iwataki Hachishi and others back to the Soul Society. Shiba Kyan and Shanosuke used Shunpo to move towards the direction Lin Sheng left as fast as possible. At this moment, Lin Sheng, who had already left a certain distance, stopped slowly after seeing that there was no chasing enemy. The battle just now had consumed a lot of his Reiatsu, and now he was in urgent need of some Reiatsu replenishment, and there happened to be a few powerful voids nearby. Suddenly, from the direction he flew from just now, a blue streamer struck instantly. This is. Before Lin Sheng could react, this powerful spiritual light cluster merged into his body. What a strong spirit! At this moment, Lin Sheng's body directly grew to more than 20 meters, and Reiatsu's strength also increased rapidly. That miraculous feeling reappeared in his mind, and then the battle damage on his body was repairing quickly. Is this high-speed regeneration? At this moment, Lin Sheng found that all kinds of battle injuries on his body had disappeared, and even the feeling of being overwhelmed in his body no longer existed. High-speed regeneration is a skill of Shu, which can quickly heal the wounds on the body. However, there are different levels of this ability. Not all virtual regenerative abilities are the same. The lowest level can only regenerate limbs or something. In the advanced high-speed regeneration, even if the internal organs are destroyed, the body will regenerate, but if the spirit energy consumption speed cannot keep up, it will still die from exhaustion. Many ghosts usually give up this ability during the promotion process, mainly because the consumption speed of spirit particles cannot keep up, so it is better to improve the power in other aspects. At the same time that Lin Sheng became stronger, his powerful Reiatsu was also revealed like a dark flame. As a result, the 2 Shinigami who had lost track of him found their way again. Brush. 2 black figures in deadly costumes stepped on Shunpo and appeared in front of Lin Sheng as if teleported. It looks like this is the wrong end. Shiba Kyan confirmed to Yoshinosuke Kureya after observing it for a while. Yeah. Yoshinosuke nodded solemnly, pulled out his Zanpakuto, and was able to defeat Iwago Hachishi's giant Shu, so he had to be cautious. When Lin Sheng looked at the 2 Shinigami who suddenly appeared, but he didn't notice their moving tracks. Could this be Shunpo? The same advanced pace as ringing. Shunpo is Shinigami's technique of moving the body quickly. It can move to the opponent's side or farther away at a speed similar to teleportation. Ring spin is an advanced footwork unique to Urankar. In a sense, ring spin is faster than Shinigami's Shunpo, because it involves the spatial level. Being able to kill Yangon Baxi means that your strength is good, but that's it, and then I will end you to avenge Yangon Baxi. Shiba Kaiyan pulled out the Zanpakuto, and a burst of oppressive Reiatsu was released. Terrible Reiatsu. Much stronger than the previous Shinigami named Iwago. Could this be a Shinigami at the vice-captain level? Lin Sheng looked at Shiba Kaiyan solemnly. The enemy was stronger than he expected. Brush. Shiba Kaiyan's figure disappeared directly on the spot, and when he reappeared, he was already behind Lin Sheng. Stab it. One sound. Lin Sheng's incomparably strong steel skin did not act as a hindrance, and a long and narrow wound was cut directly. If it weren't for his huge body, this blow might have killed him. Ah, even Shikai can cut through my steel skin. Lin Sheng turned around and looked at Shiba Kaiyan in shock. When I watched anime before, I didn't feel that the vice-captain is so powerful. In fact, what Lin Sheng didn't know was that Shiba Kaiyan was also known as a genius in the Soul Society. When he entered the Spiritual Arts Academy, his spiritual power had already reached the 6th level. And it took only 1 year to complete the 6-year course, and then it took only 5 years to serve as the vice-captain of the 13th Division. His potential and strength are well known for a long time, and it is not impossible to be promoted to the captain's rank in time. So what Lin Sheng is facing at this moment is a relatively powerful existence among the vice-captains. High-speed regeneration. Seeing that the wound he had cut just now had healed, Shiba Kaiyan was also surprised. Is this guy in front of him a giant hollow or a Manos Grande? Have the opportunity. Seeing Shiba Kaiyan seemed a little distracted, Lin Sheng flicked his tail and hit Shiba Kaiyan with a strong wind, but it was a pity that only a bunch of buildings were photographed. Shiba Kaiyan easily dodges the blow with only Shunpo and appears to be doing well. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Sheng's huge body was like a dragon going out to sea, frequently attacking Shiba Kaiyan. But no matter how he attacked, he couldn't touch Shiba Kaiyan's clothes. Instead, he was cut with multiple long and narrow wounds. Although he had high-speed regeneration, his Reiatsu dropped very fast. This scene made Yoshinosuke at the side feel relieved. It seemed that Shu was no match for Vice-Captain Shiba at all. Aren't you going to release Sero? What? At this juncture, do you still have to hold back? Shiba Kaiyan cut another wound on Lin Sheng's body while talking. Facing such a powerful enemy, Lin Sheng looked extremely embarrassed. Although the wounds on the surface of his body had recovered, the mental blow he suffered was enormous. Ignoring Shiba Kaiyan's words, Sero is his last trick, and it must not be wasted when he can't see the certainty of victory. Really? If that's the case, I don't want to waste any more time. After realizing that Lin Sheng still didn't intend to release Sero, Shiba Kaiyan lost his patience and planned to get rid of him at once. Let the water and the sky turn back. Nejibana. A white light shone from Shiba Kaiyan's Zanpakuto, while his already amazing Reiatsu exploded again. As the white light dissipated, Shiba Kaiyan's Zanpakuto disappeared, holding a trident-shaped spear like Poseidon in his hand. It's over. Shiba Kaiyan swung his trident and struck at Lin Sheng. Feeling that the power of this blow was several times stronger than before, Lin Sheng had no choice but to use the last trick, and Sero condensed in his mouth. However, with his Reiatsu, it may be difficult to damage and hinder Shiba Kaiyan. Suddenly, it seemed that the entire continental plate moved, the ground was trembling, and the high-altitude airflow was sweeping. In this situation, the two sides who were fighting had to stop. Could it be? Shiba Kaiyan looked towards the eastern coastline in disbelief, where a huge mushroom cloud rose again. Really? Lin Sheng seemed to have expected this scene, so he was not as shocked as Shiba Kaiyan and the others. Instead, it seized this opportunity, and when Shiba Kaiyan's attention was attracted, he vacated at a high speed and flew in the direction of Hiroshima Prefecture, where there was a weak point in space when he came. Huh, you can't escape. Seeing that Lin Sheng was about to run away, Shiba Kaiyan also came back to his senses, and chased after him holding a trident. This guy is really tough. Seeing Shiba Kaiyan chasing up again, Lin Sheng couldn't help cursing. Seeing Shiba Kaiyan getting closer to himself, In desperation, Lin Sheng unleashes his unique move Sero, hoping to stop Shiba Kaien. Call out! A thick red beam of light streaked across the sky, attacking Shiba Kaien in the rear. What? Facing the rushing red light waves, Shiba Kaien swung the trident in his hand, and scattered the Sero with just one blow. But just as he was about to continue his actions, the communicator provided by the Technology Development Bureau on his body suddenly rang, forcing him to stop his pursuit. When the communicator was turned on, a hurried voice was heard. Vice Captain Shiba, just now the Technology Development Bureau detected that there was another huge roar in this world. The captain ordered that Gote 13 be put on standby immediately. Currently, Jashiro Yukitaki, captain of the 13th Division, and Kiraku Shunsui, the captain of the 8th Division, are already on their way. Please be sure to arrive at the designated location first to prevent Hueco Mundo's attack. Even the captain and the others are dispatched. Shiba Kaien's face became serious. After hesitating for a while, he gave up chasing and killing Lin Sheng, and went to the explosion site with Zenisuke according to the order. Lin Sheng, who was on the run, felt like his life was hanging by a thread after seeing Shiba Kaien smash his Sero with ease. But for some reason, Shiba Kaien, who was about to catch up with him, turned around and left again. But this kind of thing is not important to him. The most important thing at the moment is to stay away from these Shinigami, and he has a premonition that there will be more terrifying existences coming to the world. Just when Lin Sheng was about to reach the weak point in Hiroshima County, the 13th Division stationed here blocked his way again. It turns out that this place has become the temporary base of the 13th Division in the present world. It was this head, the one who killed Yan Gang Baxi. But didn't Shiba's vice captain and Yoshinosuke 7 seats chase after him? Does it need to be said, he must have used some method to avoid vice captain Shiba and the others. Several Shinigami who had just arrived at the Hiroshima prefectural station pointed at Lin Sheng and shouted loudly. This made Shinigami, who was not familiar with the situation nearby, suddenly surprised. It is not easy to defeat Iwago Yashi and escape the pursuit of Shiba's vice captain. Is that him? Shangju Wuxi, who was stationed here, came out with a serious expression on his face. Lin Sheng found that he seemed to have broken into a group of Shinigami. There were at least no less than 30 Shinigami here. It's not good. I didn't expect so many Shinigami to be stationed here. The weak point of the space when we came here is not far ahead. If we go to other places, I'm afraid they will be blocked by Shiba Kaien again. It seems that we can only give it a try. Stand back, the strength of this head is not to be underestimated. Shangju Wuxi said to the Shinigami who besieged Lin Sheng. He let these Shinigami retreat, on the one hand to avoid the casualties of his subordinates, on the other hand, it is also related to his fighting style. A group of Shinigami glanced at each other, and then expanded the encirclement, making room for Kamitake Goshi and Taksu to fight. You can beat Iwago Hachi and escape the pursuit of Shiba's vice captain. But even so, I won't let you pass through here. Shangju Wuxi pulled out Zanpakuto and said to Lin Sheng. It seems that this battle is unavoidable. Lin Sheng said helplessly, his original intention was to devour some void, but he did not expect to be frequently regarded as a thorn in the side of these Shinigami. Let's shoot arrows, hunting crossbow. As soon as Shangju Wuxi came up, he released his Shikai, and the Zanpakuto in his hand suddenly changed into a crossbow, and the strength of his Reiatsu instantly increased several times. Reiatsu is much taller than me, but he just doesn't know the power of that crossbow. Lin Sheng said, assessing the strength of both sides. Whoosh! Lin Sheng avoided his head subconsciously, but the arrow still hit his body, and a bloodstain split open on his neck. So fast, Lin Sheng said solemnly, if he hadn't dodged subconsciously just now, he would have been pierced by the arrow. Did you miss it? The crossbow in Shangju's hand once again condensed the Lingxi arrows. Whoosh, 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 one after another, Lingxi arrows shot at Lin Sheng who was in midair. Facing the endless stream of spiritual arrows, Lin Sheng seemed a little powerless. After all, he had just escaped from Shiba Kaien's hands not long ago, and the spiritual seeds had not yet been replenished. Soon, he was hit by several Lingxi arrows, causing him to suffer another severe injury. Lin Sheng glanced at the group of Shinigami surrounding him. I thought in my heart, that's the only way to go, and then flew towards the Shinigami on the periphery. Not good. This time, Shangju Wuxi didn't dare to shoot Link C arrows at will, because if he didn't grasp it well, he would easily hurt his own people. But without the interference of his spirit arrow, Lin Sheng didn't need to worry about anything, and defeated many Shinigami with only his strong body. A series of blue spirit particles entered his body, causing Lin Sheng's Reiatsu to recover rapidly. King's Lander. The mask of flesh and blood, Yantian, fluttering wings, and the name of human beings. Burning heat and strife, across the sea to the south, step forward. 31 of Hado, red cannon. One of the bespectacled Shinigami fired a flame that condensed high-strength spiritual particles at Lin Sheng. Boom! The red flame hit Lin Sheng directly, causing a big explosion in midair, and even the clouds in midair were dyed blood red. Did you win? Shinigami said with some doubts in his glasses. At this time, Shangju Wushi's expression not far away suddenly changed, and he shouted, "Yokota, be careful." Huh? Yokota looked at Takeshi Wushi with some doubts. What's going on? Roar. A terrifying roar sounded from the smoke, and then a dragon-like body rushed out of the smoke and charged towards Angshan. Boom. A powerful force hit Yokota's chest, and then a dragon claw pierced through his chest. Ah! Yokota looked at his chest unwillingly, and wanted to grab something with his hands, but soon fell silent. A cloud of blue spirit particles floated out of Yokota's body, and was instantly sucked into Lin Sheng's body. It not only restored Lin Sheng's body that had been burned into pieces of coke, but also greatly increased his Reiatsu. Yokota. Kamatake Goshi saw this scene, and his face changed instantly. Yokota is the junior Shinigami whom he has always been optimistic about. He is currently the 11th seat of the 13th squad. He has a lot of potential and is very hopeful to be promoted to a senior seat officer. Now he is dying here for nothing. The seat officer is a position of Shinigami Gote 13, which is related to the strength in the team. Usually there are more than 200 official Shinigami in each fan team, and the 3rd to 9th seats are the strong players ranked 3rd to 9th in the team, also collectively referred to as senior seats, who can lead the team to participate in some difficult events task. After the 10 seats, each seat is filled by multiple people. Apart from the recognition of the ranking in terms of strength, the rights are not much different from ordinary players, so they are called low-level seats. Leonju Crossbow. The angry Shangju used his unique trick after Shikai, and immediately countless spirit arrows flew towards Lin Sheng. If before he shot spirit arrows at the speed of a rifle, now he shoots them at the speed of a machine gun. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A large number of spirit arrows penetrated Lin Sheng's body. If Lin Sheng hadn't reacted quickly, even the mask would have been shot through this time. Facing this move, the speed of Lin Sheng high-speed regeneration couldn't keep up with the speed of body damage. Although it is not on the verge of death, Reiatsu, who has just been promoted, is falling sharply again. Roar. Lin Sheng roared again, and a red Sero was released by him. Boom, boom, boom. The Link C arrows swept by the red light wave burst in midair, and Sero went straight to Kamatake at an extremely fast speed. Brush. Facing the approaching Sero, Kamatake's figure had already disappeared in place, avoiding the blow as if teleporting. It's Shunpo again. This kind of high-speed movement is really troublesome. However, Lin Sheng obviously expected this situation. After releasing the Sero, he went straight to the Shinigami on the periphery. When Utake reacted, only half of the 30 or so Shinigami stationed here with him were left in this battle. After realizing that the crossbow-wielding Shinigami reacted, Lin Sheng didn't want to fight. At this moment, he had broken through the defense line set up by the Shinigami, and the weak point in the space when he came was right in front of his eyes. With a stabbing sound, the space here was torn open by Lin Sheng, revealing a black crack. Where to escape? After seeing Lin Sheng open his black mouth, Shangju Sanshi realized why this Shu Yao had been rushing in this direction. It turned out that he wanted to escape into Hawako Mundo. But if he escaped so easily, how can I face Captain Jashiro and Vice Captain Shiba? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Kamatake launched the Renju crossbow again, and this time blocked all the Reiatsu and released it without reservation. Chapter 11. Lin Sheng looked back at the Link C arrow that struck again, feeling annoyed already in his heart. Do you want to die that much? After absorbing a group of Shinigami spirits, his Reiatsu has not only been filled, but has even been strengthened. Even his body has grown to more than 30 meters. The strength of Reiatsu has caught up with the low Manos Grande Jillian. Roar! A thicker red beam of light condensed from Lin Sheng's mouth than before, not only detonating the Lingxi arrows along the way, but also blasting towards Shangju, who was following him unabated. Facing Sero, who was faster than before, Kamatake Goshi suddenly felt a little powerless, and he might not be able to avoid this blow. At the moment when he was about to face death, a figure in white feathers stopped in front of him, and with a wave of his hand, the powerful Sero was sent flying. Captain Shangju Wuxi, who had just returned from the brink of death, stammered after seeing the figure in front of him. That's right, the figure with white shoulder-length hair in front of him is Jashiro Yukitaki, who came to support from Soul Society. And next to him was Kyoraku Shunsui, the captain of the 8th Division, who arrived together. Jashiro Yukitaki, born in the lower nobles of the Soul Society, is the captain of Gote 13 and the first captain of the Spiritual Arts Academy since its founding. Due to a childhood illness, Jashiro was given the power to become a substitute for the Soul King at the price of being taken away by the one-eyed god Tyr, transformed from the right arm of the Soul King. Kyoraku Shunsui, born in a high-ranking nobleman of the Soul Society, is the captain of the 8th Squad in Gote 13. He is also the lover of the captain of Yamamoto with Jashiro Yukitaki, and is also one of the captains who have served as the captain for the longest time. Groove. Lin Sheng's first thought when he saw the white Haori was to run away. Escape. Escape. Even the captain level has appeared, and they are the most perverted captains in the Soul Society. No matter how strong they are not enough to fight. Fortunately, the black cavity has been opened. Lin Sheng jumped, and the figure disappeared from here. Seeing that Lin Sheng had fled into Hawako Mundo, Jashiro Yukitaki and Kyoraku Shunsui gave up their pursuit. Facing Jashiro Yukitaki, Kamatake Wuxi was very guilty, and talked about the battle between the two sides and the loss of personnel. Did Shi Gangbaxi and Yokota die in battle? Jashiro Yukitaki's already pale face became even worse after hearing Utake's report. This time, their 13th squad suffered a heavy loss. Jashiro, there are more important things right now. Seeing my old friend feels a little heavy, Kyoraku Shunsui reminded from the side. The old man didn't send them here to break into Hawako Mundo, but for something more important. There are hundreds of thousands of souls that need to be properly settled here in this world. Maybe Hawako Mundo will also send Manos Grande. I see. Jashiro Yukitaki calmed down and said, although he was very sad and indignant at the loss of his subordinates, but he still could tell which was more serious. After gathering a group of subordinates, Jashiro Yukitaki and Kyoraku Shunsui headed for the eastern coastline, where the scorching air waves have not yet completely dissipated. Hawako Mundo, the birthplace. Duke. Just accept death obediently. A giant monkey-shaped monster led a group of powerful monsters to surround a giant eagle-shaped monster. However, this eagle-shaped giant void seems to have been severely injured. Not only the body has many damages, but even the Reiatsu is extremely weak. Leo, why did you do that? Duke Hawkhead said angrily. Why, of course I want to replace you. In addition, after devouring you, I can increase my strength. Wouldn't it kill two birds with one stone? Monkey-shaped virtual Leo sneered. Duke was the original commander of the new birthplace in this area, and Monkey Shingshu was one of his subordinates, named Leo. After Leo was promoted to the Giant Void, he attacked the original commander Duke. As for the powers that originally belonged to Duke, whoever is strong will be attached to them. As Shu, they have no worries about betrayal at all, but instead want to share a little power from Duke. After all, this is a commanding level. Okay, Lord Duke, I will thank you for your gift, haha. Saying this, Leo the monkey-shaped ghost was about to give Duke a fatal blow. At this moment, a black crack suddenly opened near them. Is it a black cavity? Is it from this world? Leo and the others are no strangers to this skill, and they will basically be able to master this skill after being promoted to a strong force. But then everyone felt their souls trembling, and a huge Reiatsu came from the black crack. The next moment, Lin Sheng's 30-meter dragon body crawled out of the black cavity. In front of his huge body, Leo and the others seemed very small. Could it be Manos Grande? Leo and a group of powerful people, even Duke who was lying on the ground, became terrified. The dragon-like Reiatsu in front of him had already exceeded the upper limit of the commander level. Is this the place of birth? It seems that returning from the present world will be randomly transported to somewhere in Hueco Mundo. Lin Sheng said, looking at the familiar sand dunes. But something interesting seems to be happening in front of me, the meal prepared to welcome me. It's Manos Grande, run. Unknown who yelled, Shukyun suddenly panicked and fled in all directions. Even Leo felt bad, but just when he was about to make a move, a giant claw fell from the sky and pinned him firmly to the ground. And those Chang Lixu who escaped were not much better. A red beam shot out from the mouth of this giant flood dragon. Boom, boom, boom. Any void that is swept away will instantly turn into countless particles and dissipate between the heaven and the earth. Hateful. The monkey-shaped virtual Leo who was pressed below shouted unwillingly. His claws showed sharp nails like steel needles, and slashed towards Lin Sheng's abdomen. Ding, ding, ding. Sparks burst out one after another. Leo didn't expect that the attack he was proud of could not even pierce the skin of the monster above. After absorbing a group of powerful spirit particles, Lin Sheng felt a change in the giant void below him. This monkey is tickling me. Lin Sheng immediately increased the strength on his paws. Ah! The monkey-shaped virtual Leo began to panic. He found that the power of the claws that imprisoned him was getting stronger and stronger. Boom! The powerful commander-level giant void Leo was crushed by Lin Sheng just like that. Lin Sheng felt a little dull. The strength of this giant Shu's spiritual son was not as strong as that Shinigami named Yokota. Then he looked at the eagle-headed Duke at the side. Seeing Lin Sheng pinch Leo like a bug, Duke's eyes bulged, and he stared at this scene dumbfounded. Hey, do you know where this is Hueco Mundo? Just as Duke was waiting to die, a rather magnetic voice came from above his head. Ah, Yingtixu Duke realized that it was the Jiaolongshu speaking in front of him. My lord, this is the south of the outer circle. Duke raised his head and carefully stated the direction here. But there's nothing he can do if he doesn't say anything, unless he wants to die. South of the outer circle. Finding that Lin Sheng seemed to be quite puzzled, Duke explained and popularized the geography of Hueco Mundo by the way. The core area of Hueco Mundo is the inner circle, where countless Manos Grande live, because Duke has never been there, so I didn't mention it in detail. And he mainly talked about the outer circle of Hueco Mundo, which is divided into Hueco Mundo Wilderness and the birthplace. Of course, there are places similar to the Manos Grande Forest in this wide outer circle, but the Manos Grande Forest it's in the basement. The southern part of the birthplace that Duke mentioned refers to the farther south of the Hueco Mundo Wilderness. I see. Lin Sheng said that I understand this better than anyone else. Isn't this equivalent to dividing Hueco Mundo into several rings? The inner circle of Hueco Mundo is equivalent to the fourth ring, and the Hueco Mundo Wilderness is equivalent to the fifth to sixth ring. As for the birthplace, it should be the location of the seventh to eighth ring. As a new 5 good youth in the 21st century, Lin Sheng is all too familiar with this. Of course, this is just a way for him to understand. In fact, the area of Hueco Mundo is not smaller than the present world. After all, it is an independent world. At this time, Lin Sheng asked another question. Do you know a giant ghost named Guyan? Guy. My adults probably don't know that the guy named Guy in Hueco Mundo has 80 if not 100. Duke said with some embarrassment. Okay. Is the name Guy so common? It's hard to find now. Lin Sheng thought. My lord. The eagle-headed Duke called out cautiously, for fear of disturbing Lin Sheng's meditation. Huh. Lin Sheng's huge head looked at him, which put a lot of pressure on Duke. Eagle-headed Duke swallowed his saliva and said, although I don't know who the guy you are talking about is, if he is a commander-level giant, he will definitely participate in the next commander's meeting. Guy's giant is gone. Commander meeting. Is there a meeting? Lin Sheng asked curiously. Duke smiled awkwardly before continuing to explain. On rare occasions, commanders will sit down and communicate with each other. And this commander's meeting was convened by the most powerful commander in the south, saying that there is a way to improve strength, so. A way to improve your strength. Is there a false belief in this kind of thing? Lin Sheng asked back. Most ghosts have a sense of obsession with power. Even if it is fake, there must be many ghosts who would rather believe in it than believe in nothing. Duke said the thoughts of most ghosts. Lin Sheng nodded, even himself was a little curious, let alone utter hypocrisy. In that case, then I'll go to this leadership meeting to have a look. Lin Sheng said, waving his claws and pointing forward. Ah, my lord, the direction we're going is this way. Duke said, pointing in the other direction. Lin Sheng withdrew his paw in embarrassment, and coughed pretendingly, then you lead the way. Okay, my lord, let's go in this direction, and it will take about a week to reach our destination. Duke said. Huh, how come it's so far away? Lin Sheng wondered, the speed of waiting for others is not slow, and it still takes so long. My lord, it's like this. Our current location is in the extreme south, and the meeting place is in the central area of the southern nascent land. Duke gestured at the locations of the two places. Lin Sheng understood in seconds. It turns out that Duke lives outside the 9th Ring Road. Stepping on the hot sand dunes, a dragon and an eagle walked in this endless desert. These two are Lin Sheng and Duke, and it has been a week since their departure. Lord Lin Sheng, Wanju City is ahead. Duke Yingtixu said respectfully. It was only during this period of time that Duke truly understood how terrifying this lord was. Master Lin Sheng, who has such a terrifying Reiatsu, is actually just a commander-level giant virtual. And along the way, they also met many powerful ghosts, but these were already very powerful ghosts in the eyes of the eagle-headed Duke. In front of Master Lin Sheng, he was vulnerable, and even he took advantage of it, and his strength was further enhanced. Therefore, Duke respected Lin Sheng more and more. After all, Hawako Mundo respects strength. At this time, Lin Sheng's body has grown to more than 40 meters, and Reiatsu has further improved. In addition, he has learned a new skill called Reiatsu containing breath, which is a skill that can hide Reiatsu in the body. However, although Lin Sheng's strength has improved again, compared to his previous evolution speed, it is now much slower. The main reason is that Qionglixu has added very little spirit particles to him, and only the commander level can still have some effect on him. This is also the reason why Duke can get the light, because Lin Sheng can no longer look down on the powerful virtual level. It seems that I have to go to the Hawako Mundo wilderness earlier. I wonder if I can beat Manos Grande now. Lin Sheng plans the next road. Soon, Lin Sheng and the others arrived at the destination of this trip, Wanju City. This is Wanju City. Lin Sheng asked with a strange expression, pointing to a huge boulder placed there is a high platform and scattered gravel around it. Yes, it is said that this is only open because of the importance of this conference. Duke first introduced it proudly. Then he realized that Master Lin Sheng looked a little strange, and asked puzzledly, Master Lin Sheng, is there something wrong? The corner of Lin Sheng's mouth twitched, and he said with an unnatural expression, it's nothing. I just think the word city is too insulting here. In Lin Sheng's view, the construction of this Wanju city is just like a child's playhouse. No wonder the place where Baragan lives in the original book is not very good. It seems that this is the architectural method that Hawako Mundo has inherited for a long time. Is there? Duke touched his head and looked at Wanju City again. He thought it was very good here. As they walked into this so-called Wanju City, many commander-level Shu panicked. Lin Sheng's body size is much larger than other commanders. If he hadn't used Reiatsu's ability to suppress Reiatsu's breath and suppressed Reiatsu to an ordinary commander, he would probably have scared away half of the virtuals here. What? I was taken aback. I thought Manos Grande was coming. Yeah, it made me nervous. But this guy is really big. All the Zus started talking one after another, but they were no longer flustered at first. In Hawako Mundo, there are indeed some monsters with particularly large bodies, such as giant elephants, giant whales, etc., which are even bigger than Lin Sheng, so it is not surprising to have another giant dragon. Looks like some new friends are here. At this moment, a leopard cat climbed onto the stone platform just in time to see this scene. Lord Lin Sheng, the one on the stone platform, is the initiator of this meeting, Leopard Cat Shu Klein. Duke on the side introduced him in a low voice. Looking at the Leopard Cat Shu Klein on the stone platform, Lin Sheng felt that this guy was not simple. Klein, we didn't come to you for vacation, tell me the way to become stronger that you have learned. If we are all dissatisfied, hey, I'm afraid you have to help us improve the food. A rather powerful human figure spoke first, followed by several commander-level figures who followed the Dao violently. Why is this voice so familiar? The human being who spoke first caught Lin Sheng's attention immediately. Master Lin Sheng, what's wrong? Duke asked softly from the side. The figure just now is the guy I'm looking for, Lin Sheng said in a flat tone, as if Guy was just a passerby. Although Master Lin Sheng's tone was flat, Duke always felt a trace of murderous intent. It seems that this giant named Guy's evil is more than auspicious. Then shall we now? Duke asked tentatively. Don't worry, he can't run anymore, let's see what that leopard cat is going to do first. Lin Sheng looked away, and looked at Klein on the stone platform again. He wanted to see what tricks this leopard cat was planning to play. At this moment, Shu Klein, the leopard cat on the stone platform, was licking his paws, facing the threats from Guy En and Shu Shu, without the slightest fear. Finally, after Guy waited and quarreled for a while, Klein walked to the side of the stone platform with graceful catwalks, facing the hundreds of leaders in the field. Since everyone can't wait any longer, then I will tell you this method. Seeing that Klein was finally going to get to the point, Shu Kyun immediately fell silent. I'm sure you all know that when we get promoted to Manos Grande from the giant illusion, we might lose our minds and become Jillian at the moment of the promotion. Of course, there are still a very small number of them who have retained their own form and reason. Klein added a sentence before continuing. And what I want to say is that when you are promoted to Manos Grande, you can still preserve your sanity. After all, after you become Jillian, you may not be yourself. After Klein said this, everyone in the virtual group boiled. After being promoted to Manos Grande, can you still retain your sanity? If it's true, then we can be promoted without any scruples. There are a lot of people who say nothing, and they are very interested in this topic anyway. After all, no one wants to be reduced to Jillian with low intelligence. Jillian is formed by a particularly strong void swallowing hundreds of common void queens. Most of them have a black outer body, a white proboscis mask and relatively low intelligence. In Manos Grande, Jillian has the largest number and is usually used as cannon fodder for high-level Manos Grande. Only a very small number of them have autonomous consciousness. After seeing everyone's reaction, Leopard Cat Shu Klein was also very satisfied. This was the effect he wanted. After Klein signaled, the group became quiet again, wanting to hear what the method was. Actually, the method is very simple. As long as you are willing to help my master Zael Aporo complete a small experiment, you can ask my master Apollo to transform your body for you. Zael Aporo. Hearing this name, Lin Sheng was immediately surprised. This person's fame does not lie in his strength, but in his research. Zael Aporo, the eighth Espada in the original book, often studied the human body as an alchemist during his lifetime. After becoming Shu, he still has an obsessive interest in the human body, the virtual body and Shinigami. He has deep attainments in spiritual body research and is also an expert in developing spiritual weapons. However, this guy's character is very crazy, not an easy person to get along with. And he hasn't separated his soul yet, right? So Zael Aporo is probably a Vasto-Lord level Manos Grande, Lin Sheng thought. Just as Lin Sheng was thinking about it, all the commander-level giant virtuals in the field, after hearing that Klein's method turned out to be a test subject for others, many virtuals showed their violent side. Klein, are you crazy, dare to say such a thing? I think you don't want to live today. Let's devour you today and draw a successful conclusion to this conference. Immediately, several powerful commanders rushed up to the stone platform, trying to tear Klein apart. Suddenly, a green beam of light erupted from Klein's mouth, instantly blasting those giant ghosts. Virtual Sero. Is he already a Manos Grande class? The chaotic scene was brought under control in an instant. Some of the more noisy Shu just buried their heads very low at this moment. Klein stepped on the graceful catwalk again, and said to the leaders in the field, "You have also seen that I have been promoted to Manos Grande under the transformation of my master, and I am still rational. This is a rare opportunity. The conditions just now remain the same, but I only need 5 of you. As for the remaining Shu, I don't think there is any need to exist. It depends on whether you do it yourself or me." The Manos Grande level Reiatsu in Klein's body was completely released. It was a terrifying existence far surpassing the commander level. After seeing Klein's true strength, Lin Sheng's expression became serious. This guy named Klein, Reiatsu is still above me. Not your average junior Manos Grande, I'm afraid. At this moment, the atmosphere in the arena is very oppressive, and everyone is on guard. In fact, hundreds of commanders in the field may not be able to fight Klein, but the difficulty is that they are not in the same mind, and each leader has his own plan. Suddenly, the humanoid guy moved first, but what he attacked was not Klein, but a goat next to him. Faced with Guy's sudden attack, Goat Shu was caught off guard and was hit hard in an instant. This moment immediately caused a chain reaction in the audience, making this place evolve into a battlefield in an instant, and everyone joined in the melee. The battle between the Shu groups made Klein put away his powerful Reiatsu, and he observed the entire battlefield, only killing those Shu who wanted to escape. In the chaotic battle situation, even Lin Sheng couldn't keep it safe, as a powerful lion came straight towards him. Court death. Seeing that the situation was out of control, Lin Sheng also showed some strength, and Reiatsu quickly rose to the limit of the commanding level. Call out. Lin Sheng's steel whip-like tail flicked, knocking Shishiksu down in an instant, and then stepped on it with his huge paw. Boom! The incomparably powerful lion Shu was directly crushed by Lin Sheng, turning into a particle and dissipating between heaven and earth. This ferocious scene made Shu who wanted to take advantage of it feel a tremor, and they all backed away. But they wanted to quit, but Lin Sheng was still unwilling. All these things were experience packs for him. Soon, this place formed a scene of a dragon chasing a group of Shushu. This scene also attracted Klein on the stone platform, and he said with interest, "The strength of this dragon is not bad, maybe it will be a good experimental subject." But soon, his eyes were drawn elsewhere, because there were several Reiatsu in the sky, which were already approaching the Manos Grande class. The strongest among them is Guy, who took the lead in the attack. He has already led the others by relying on his initial advantage. Ha ha ha, today is the day my lord Guy is promoted to Manos Grande. After gaining more powerful power, Guy became more and more arrogant. Not long after, there were only 8 of the hundreds of commander-level giants left, and each of these surviving ghosts, except for the eagle-headed Duke, was very powerful. When it comes to Duke, he has to thank Master Lin Sheng for taking care of him. First, Lin Sheng chased and beat everyone around him, and Lin Sheng didn't allow him to help even some Shu who were maimed, so he didn't make a move from the beginning to the end, and survived in such a daft way. This scene moved Duke badly, and he even had a plan of allegiance in his heart. Okay, everyone, as long as there are 3 more out, you can follow me to where my master is. Leopard Shu Klein said flatly, announcing their fate again. Guys, why don't we get rid of these 2 guys first, so that we only need to get rid of 1 more. Reiatsu was already extremely violent, and Guy, who couldn't even hold back, pointed at Lin Sheng and Duke loudly suggested. The other 5 heads looked at each other and found that this was indeed a good way. After all, except for the fighting strength of the Jiaolongshu, the fighting strength of the eagle head is negligible. In addition, at this moment, they can hardly suppress the violent Reiatsu in their bodies. It is better to end the battle as soon as possible and get promoted earlier. Immediately, these 6 powerful Shu formed a brief alliance and began to surround Lin Sheng and the 2 of them. Lord Lin Sheng, they seem to be besieging us. Duke stammered from the side. Back off. Lin Sheng waved his paw, as if he didn't care about the crisis in front of him. In fact, he had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Just now, the 20-odd giant ghosts provided him with a lot of spiritual seeds, which increased his size to more than 50 meters. But even so, Lin Sheng is still dissatisfied, and the promotion given to him by Ju Juxu is far less than before, so he has been waiting for guys like Guyan. What a misfortune. It's unlucky for you to meet me, but when Mr. Guyan devours you, you will live to experience this pain, ha ha ha. Guy grinned and said as he walked towards Lin Sheng. Guy, you are still the same as before, just seeing it makes me sick. Lin Sheng made no secret of his disgust. Huh, you know me. Guy suddenly became puzzled. At this time, Lin Sheng's appearance had changed drastically due to evolution, and Guy couldn't recognize him no matter how he looked. I'm sure you're still impressed by this. Lin Sheng opened his mouth, and streaks of red spirits quickly gathered. At the same time, an extremely huge Reiatsu rose here. This Reiatsu far surpassed Guy and others, and even Klein the Ocelot was surprised. You are. Seeing the red Sero, Guy's eyes widened, and he even became frightened. How long has it been since that little snake became so terrifying? Although the other ghosts didn't know what was going on, they all became horrified after seeing Lin Sheng's Reiatsu improve sharply, and also condensed Sero. At this time, after Klein realized that Lin Sheng's strength was getting stronger and stronger, he hurriedly ordered, "You are qualified, keep them." However, he may have said the wrong person. Lin Sheng's original plan was not to be a test subject for Zael Aporo. A terrifying red beam of light shot out quickly, and Lin Sheng ignored Klein's words. Boom, boom, boom. The powerful Sero exploded Guyan and other 6 heads in an instant, and 6 blue light clusters flew towards Lin Sheng. Roar. The sharp increase of Reiatsu made Lin Sheng roar. These 6 spirit seed clusters are all Manos Grande level. First, Lin Sheng's body grew rapidly to more than 70 meters, and then 2 bulges began to appear on his head, and scales began to grow on his body that was originally like a snake. And judging from the hardness of the scale armor, it is probably much stronger than the steel skin. What? Klein was shocked by Lin Sheng's change. The Reiatsu strength of this flood dragon actually surpassed that of the subordinate Manos Grande Jillian, unlike himself. Even stronger than myself. As the growth of his body stopped, Lin Sheng felt this power in an unbelievable way. He felt that even if Jillian was in front of him, he could crush it. But he hasn't advanced to Manos Grande yet. I don't know how much Reiatsu you need to accumulate to reach the realm of Manos Grande. Although his strength has been greatly enhanced, Lin Sheng's instinct as a Shu tells him that he is still a commander-level giant Shu. Master Lin Sheng's spirit Reiatsu is really terrifying. Duke, who was not far away, looked at this scene in shock. He had never experienced such a terrifying Reiatsu. Klein, what do you think of my Reiatsu? Lin Sheng's huge dragon head looked at Klein the Ocelot and asked. Very strong, Klein said bravely, and then seemed to remember something. The task Master Apollo gave him was to bring 5 giant ghosts who were about to advance. The task must have failed now, but if he could bring this strange dragon back, he might be able to make up for his mistakes. Thinking of this, Klein continued, as long as you are willing to go with me to the place where Lord Zael Aporo is, I will forget what happened just now. In addition, I will implore Master Apollo to give you a special reward. This is a rare opportunity. Lin Sheng heard Klein's nonsense, and asked disdainfully, Klein, do you think I will go back with you to be that experimental subject? Put away your petty thoughts. You just want to lure me to go there. After all, as long as I get there, you have the final say on what to do. Although Zael Aporo is a researcher, it is easy for him to beat himself up. This Klein has a really bad heart. Lin Sheng thought to himself. Klein's face was very ugly. It seemed that Lin Sheng had hit his mind, and then he said in a somewhat annoyed manner, offending Mr. Apollo will make your life worse than death. Then he has to catch me first. Lin Sheng looked like a dead pig not afraid of boiling water, which instantly made Klein furious. Since you don't want to go by yourself, then I'll catch you. After finishing speaking, Klein turned into an afterimage and attacked Lin Sheng. The Battle of Manos Grande was imminent. As soon as they fought, Lin Sheng found that his speed was at a disadvantage. Klein's petite body, compared to him, exploded with extremely agile speed, causing all of Lin Sheng's attacks to miss. Brush. Klein appeared above Lin Sheng in an instant, and his sharp claws kept attacking Lin Sheng. Ding, ding, ding. Sparks burst out one after another, and every time there was an attack, there was a sound of golden spears clashing. How is it possible? Klein said incredulously. His sharp claws could tear Jillian apart, but he couldn't break through the guy's scales. Just when he was shocked, a strong wind hit. It was Lin Sheng's tail like a steel whip. However, Klein dodged the blow with a light leap in midair. The speed is so fast. Although Klein couldn't break through Lin Sheng's scales, Lin Sheng couldn't hit Klein's vigorous body either. Since you can't tear your body apart, try my Sero. After Klein saw that Lin Sheng's defense could not be torn apart with his sharp claws, he quickly flashed to the back of Lin Sheng, and green spirit particles quickly condensed towards his mouth. Not good. Lin Sheng reacted, and found that there was an extremely powerful Reiatsu gathering behind him, and immediately had a bad feeling. As he turned his head, a green beam of light came straight towards him. Boom! A huge explosion roared, and a mighty green Sero directly hit Lin Sheng's huge body. As the smoke and dust dissipated, Lin Sheng was revealed in a panic. There were many scales all over his body that were breaking and falling down, and there were black shadows like charcoal in some places. It seems that even with the double protection of scale armor and steel skin, Lin Sheng suffered serious injuries. Ha ha ha. It turns out that your defense is just like this: as long as I release Sero a few more times, you will be dead. Shu Klein, the leopard cat, regained his initial calmness and said a little arrogantly. It's too early for you to be happy. Lin Sheng said in a deep voice. The injuries on his body were recovering quickly, and even the damaged scales began to be repaired. Is this high-speed regeneration? Klein, who thought he had regained the initiative, was stunned when he saw this scene. You can't win. Lin Sheng, who recovered again, said confidently. Klein's face was very ugly, and he said a little coldly, even if you can high-speed regeneration, how many times can you recover? As long as I release Sero a few more times, you will die of exhaustion. After speaking, Klein condensed the green Sero again. Do you think I can't do this trick? Lin Sheng also opened his mouth wide, and a red Sero quickly formed. Boom! The green and red shock waves collided instantly, forming a very powerful tearing force here, as if even the space was distorted. But not long after the two beams of light were in a stalemate, the red beam of light rushed up against the green beam of light. Ah, that's impossible. Klein looked at the red Sero that was getting closer. No matter how he strengthened the power of the green Sero, he couldn't resist the red Sero. Boom! There was a bigger explosion in midair than before, and the strong wind pressure spread in all directions, and even Duke, who was outside the battle circle, had to retreat to the distance again. Although Sero hit Klein the ocelot, Lin Sheng became serious instead, because he didn't see Klein's spirit particle floating out, which meant that this guy wasn't dead, but even if he wasn't dead, at least he was seriously injured. Sure enough, with the smoke and dust from the explosion clearing away, Klein's situation was similar to what Lin Sheng expected. At this time, Klein was much more embarrassed than Lin Sheng just now. His whole body was basically burnt to charcoal, and even Reiatsu was reduced to an extremely low level, but even so, he barely survived. Hate it. I will definitely avenge this revenge. Shu Klein, the leopard cat, managed to float in midair, and after saying these harsh words, he was about to fly away. Do you think you can escape? Lin Sheng condensed Sero from his mouth again as he spoke. Seeing this, Klein suddenly laughed wildly. Ha ha ha, you don't know the greatness of Master Apollo. Immediately after he roared, two wings appeared from his back, and his speed increased again. Not only did he avoid Lin Sheng's Sero smoothly, but he also galloped away at a faster speed. At this time, after seeing Klein go away, Duke ran over and asked, Master Lin Sheng, which guy has escaped? Lin Sheng didn't speak, and could only look solemnly at Klein's figure that was getting further and further away. What the hell was this guy transformed by Apollo? Seeing his crazy look at the end, I'm afraid it will cost a lot to use those wings. It wasn't until Klein's figure completely disappeared into the sky that Lin Sheng turned his huge dragon head around and said to Duke, You can go. Where are you going? Eagle-headed Duke asked with some doubts. You are free, you can go wherever you want. After Lin Sheng finished speaking, he ignored Duke and walked north, which was the direction of the wilderness of Hueco Mundo. Master Lin Sheng. Duke looked at Lin Sheng, who was gradually moving away, and subconsciously called out. Huh. Lin Sheng paused. Zhao Shou looked back with some doubts. Is there anything else going on with this guy? Can I follow you? Duke knelt down on one knee and said with some longing. Hearing this, Lin Sheng immediately waved his paws, and said without interest, I have no plans to accept subordinates at the moment, and you will die faster if you follow me. Lin Sheng really didn't think about the matter of accepting subordinates. It was a high-level game, and the most important thing for him now was to increase his strength so that he could gain the ability to protect himself in the future tide. After saying this to Duke, Lin Sheng ran to the wilderness without hesitation. He wanted to gain certain strength and complete the layout before Aizen arrived at Hueco Mundo. Strength. I will definitely become stronger, Master Lin Sheng. Seeing the figure getting further and further away, Duke secretly swore. Hengang rocks, weeds grow, the cold wind is raging, full of desolation. This is the most authentic portrayal of the wilderness of Hueco Mundo. This is the hunting ground of Manos Grande, a place more cruel than the birthplace. Even the giant void dare not set foot on this land easily. But today there is an exception, a giant flood dragon stepped here. Although the scenery here is not very good, at least it is better than the newborn land. This is the second time Lin Sheng has set foot on the Hueco Mundo wilderness. The first time he was forced to do so, but this time he took it easy. The Hueco Mundo wilderness is boundless, so Lin Sheng had to choose a direction at random. Suddenly, a tall black figure appeared in front of Lin Sheng. This figure was more than 50 meters high, covered with a black outer body, and a mask with a long white nose. It was the subordinate Manos Grande Jillian. Roar! This Jillian also found Lin Sheng's figure. After all, both of them are very large, and there is nothing to cover in Hueco Mundo, so they can find each other even if they are far away. Jillian. It's time to try my current strength. Lin Sheng was bigger than Jillian, so he charged directly. Facing Lin Sheng's impact like a flood dragon, Jillian had no concept of dodging at all, and bumped straight into it. Boom! A huge impact sounded, and Lin Sheng felt as if he had hit a wall. Not only did he not hit Jillian, but he knocked himself dizzy. What is this? Lin Sheng shook his head and woke up from the dizziness, only then did he see that there was a golden light covering Jillian's body. Immediately, I was a little confused. Did I bump into this just now? What is this? Could it be a small negation? Negation, one of the basic abilities of the subordinate Manos Grande Jillian, can isolate the inner and outer worlds, and is a very powerful defensive move. In addition, in Hueco Mundo, except for Jillian, only very special Huo can use negation. In addition to defending itself, this skill is usually used to save the same race. If it's negation, Jillian alone shouldn't be able to last long. Lin Sheng looked at Jillian standing there motionless and analyzed that neither he nor Jillian could attack each other with negation. Sure enough, the negation light released by Jillian could not last long, and soon the golden light began to fade. Roar! After the negation light faded, Jillian became irritable, and a red sarrow condensed from the tip of his long nose. Too weak. Looking at Sarrow who was shooting towards him, Lin Sheng stretched out his huge claws, and instantly pinched a light wave. Boom! With a bang, the sarrow released by Jillian was crushed and exploded by Lin Sheng. Call out! Lin Sheng didn't give Jillian another chance to make a move, his dragon-like body rushed over in an instant. But this time facing his attack, Jillian's negation light did not rise again. Without negation, Jillian couldn't resist Lin Sheng's attack at all, and was torn apart in just a few hits. It seems that negation can only be used once in a short period of time. Lin Sheng said looking at Jillian who was slowly disappearing. Whoosh! A cloud of blue spiritual particles floated out from here, heading straight for Lin Sheng. Immediately, his body grew again, but it stopped after only a few meters. This growth is not very obvious for Lin Sheng's current body shape. As the Reiatsu added by Jillian only to this extent. Feeling the strength added to him by Jillian, Lin Sheng said with some difficulty. According to this progress, I am afraid that I will have to kill a lot of Jillian to be promoted to the Manos Grande level. Is it because I am too strong? Or is Jillian too weak? Just when Lin Sheng went to the Hueco Mundo wilderness to improve his strength. The inner circle of Hueco Mundo is a rudimentary building in Zai Palace. There are various bottles and jars, and even a rudimentary cultivation cabin, like a laboratory. At this time, a half-length tentacle monster with a glasses-shaped mask, short pink hair, and wings walked in, and he went straight to a giant void tied to a bed. Afterwards, Shu's roar came from here, as if he was suffering some kind of pain, accompanied by terrifying laughter from time to time. Suddenly, with a sound of boom, the roaring giant void directly turned into particles and dissipated in the sky and the earth. Oh, it failed again. The half-bodied tentacle monster made a regretful voice, but what he meant was not that he cared about the death of this giant ghost, but a sense of loss that the experiment was not successful. At this moment, the door of the laboratory opened again, and a winged leopard cat Shu rushed in with injuries all over his body. It was the leopard cat Shu Klein who had escaped all the way back. Master Apollo. Klein knelt on the ground and cried out very weakly. At this moment, the wings on his back had long since lost their original magic, but turned into two skeleton wings. The tentacle monster with short pink hair is exactly Zael Aporo, but he didn't respond to the yell. Instead, he put away all the instruments on the console before turning around. "So it's Klein. Have you brought back the experimental subject I wanted?" Apollo asked without the slightest emotion, as if he hadn't seen Klein's injury. "I'm sorry, Master Apollo, I didn't bring back the experimental subject you wanted, but I found a more interesting experimental subject, but he escaped," Klein explained nervously. "Oh, more interesting experimental subjects. Let's hear it." Apollo wiped his tentacles, and asked a little casually, but the more he did this, the more nervous Klein became. After Klein stammered and told everything he knew about Lin Sheng, the expression on Shielaporo's face suddenly became distorted. "Can you upgrade Reiatsu's Dragon Void without devouring the mask? Can you also defeat Yu's Manos Grande in the form of a giant void?" Shielaporo's expression gradually became crazy. This is simply his dream test subject. But then he seemed to think of something, put his crazy face close to Klein the leopard cat, and said sullenly, "Klein, do you know the consequences of lying to me?" Klein suddenly felt a powerful aura enveloping him, and saw him lower his head even lower, and said with horror on his face, "This subordinate will never dare to deceive Master Apollo. If there is even a little bit of concealment, he is willing to be an adult. Experimental subject. That's good, you'd better remember what you said." Apollo withdrew his crazy expression and said flatly again. As Apollo withdrew that powerful aura, Klein lay limp on the ground. If he couldn't catch the dragon this time, he might be buried with him. At this moment, Lin Sheng, who is still in the wilderness of Hueco Mundo, does not know that Zael Aporo has a great interest in him. However, even if he knew, he probably wouldn't care. There are many people thinking about him, and the Soul Society still has a few more pervert captains. Boom. Sound. A powerful Jillian was killed by Lin Sheng again. "It seems that there are not many Reiatsu that Jillian can add to me," Lin Sheng said, feeling the Reiatsu that the spirit sun entered into the body. At present, his body has grown to more than 90 meters, and the protruding part of the top of his head has become more and more obvious. Even the scales on his body have begun to turn dark gold. Time. Just when Lin Sheng was about to leave here, he suddenly found that there were two streamers of light approaching in his direction, and they were still colliding with each other. What a powerful Reiatsu! Could it be a Jukas? Lin Sheng felt that the strength of these two Reiatsu was higher than his own, and then he said in surprise. After all, whether it is Jillian or the heterogeneous Manos Grande like Klein the leopard cat, they are no longer his opponents, so Reiatsu is still above him. Only the intermediate Manos Grande Ijukas are stronger existence. Ijukas is a void with more wisdom and power than Killian. At this stage of void, not only Reiatsu begins to compress, but even the size gradually shrinks. Boom, boom, boom. A series of astonishing roars resounded between the heaven and the earth. This is the collision sound of two virtual fights. And the sound of the collision got closer and closer until Lin Sheng saw their figures clearly. One of the figures is a half-body female antelope. Her lower body is the body of an antelope, while her upper body is in the form of a human. Looking carefully, she has long lake green hair and a plump bust, with rose-colored horizontal lines on her face, and a shofar mask on her head. Wait, green hair, an antelope, and a woman, isn't this Nailu? Who is that fighting him? Neutra. Lin Sheng's gaze turned to another figure, and sure enough, it was an extremely crazy mantis Shu, and it could be seen from its fighting style that it was a fighting madman. Nelialu, referred to as Nailu for short, is the former third Espada in the original book, with a pure, cute and kind personality. In the original book, she is extremely powerful, but was attacked by Zael Aporo and Neutra by taking advantage of the weakness of kindness, causing her to fall into the realm and even lose her memory. Neutra, the fifth Espada in the original book, has an extremely arrogant personality and loves to fight. He is an out-and-out combat madman, but he is full of malice towards females, which may be related to his habit of being a mantis. I didn't expect to be involved in their battle. Seeing that the battle between the two had affected him, Lin Sheng couldn't help complaining. Boom! In a burst of impact, Mantis Shu Neutra's figure was sent flying. Neutra, stop! A doll's voice sounded, and it was Nailu who was fighting with it. Hoo-hoo, Neutra barely raised his body, a trace of bloodline flowed from the corner of his mouth, but after hearing Nilu's words, he said indignantly, "I said this is a duel, why don't you continue to fight? The battle is over, we have no reason to fight anymore." Nilu's baby voice sounded again. "Kill me. As long as you don't kill me, the battle will not end." Neutra stood up, patted his chest and said forcefully. Nilu stared at him with big golden green eyes, shook her head and said, "I refuse, don't be too wishful thinking. We finally regained our rationality. It should be cherished. Now you and I have no reason to fight, so I refuse. Neliel, the more you behave like this, the angrier I get." Neutra became irritable. Facing the violent Neutra, Nilu has no interest in arguing with him. Suddenly, Nilu walked towards Lin Sheng's position, making Lin Sheng a little nervous. Whether to fight or not to fight, Nilu is a suspected Vasto-Lord level Manos Grande. Fortunately, Lin Sheng was completely wrong, Nilu didn't come to fight. Nilu walked up to Lin Sheng's dragon-like body, and apologized in an extremely gentle tone, "I'm sorry. We shouldn't have hurt you in our battle, right?" So gentle. Just hearing this voice and tone, Lin Sheng could feel a crispy feeling. It's no wonder that Lin Sheng is like this. It's not a good choice for who is the most beautiful in the original work, but Nilu's voice must be the crispest. "Really, thank you for your evaluation." Nilu laughed softly. "Our duel is not over yet." Neutra couldn't control the anger in his body anymore when he saw that Nilu put down the fight with him and started talking casually with a subordinate Manos Grande next to him. An extremely powerful Reiatsu erupted from Neutra's body, and the golden Reiatsu surfaced on the surface of the body, and then quickly condensed into a spherical shape, which was his Sero. "Call out." A huge golden beam of light bombarded, even Lin Sheng was enveloped by this attack. Not good. Faced with this life-threatening blow, Lin Sheng inspired all his Reiatsu, and red Reiatsu began to rise up. Just when Lin Sheng was about to launch Sero, a green figure stood in front of him, it was Nilu. At this moment, Nilu's Reiatsu was even more terrifying than the opposite Neutra, but Lin Sheng didn't feel any discomfort. I saw that the oncoming golden Sero was directly sucked into Nilu's mouth, but this was far from over. A pink Sero that was more powerful than before condensed out of Nilu's mouth, and bounced back at a faster speed. To Neutra. Boom. The sky seemed to be dyed pink, a mushroom cloud rose from the position of Neutra, and the strong wind howled through this wilderness. This was actually a Sero comparable to a nuclear bomb. Is this the Sero reprise? Lin Sheng watched this scene in shock. Sero replay, Nell's unique move, can absorb the enemy's Sero, and then add your own Sero to reflect it. As the aftermath gradually dissipated, Neutra's Reiatsu was still there, but it was extremely weak. But this also has to prove that his steel skin is indeed strong, and of course it may be the reason why Nilu kept his hand. "Ah, kill me." Neutra's broken body lay on the ground, and said to Nilu with one hand stretched out. "I refuse." Nilu refused without hesitation, and then said to Lin Sheng, Long, let's leave together, just let this guy lie here." Long. Lin Sheng pointed at himself in disbelief. Is this the new name Nilu gave her? That's right, isn't this name nice? Nilu said with a cute look. It's okay. Lin Sheng said helplessly. But at this time, there is a choice in front of Lin Sheng, is to kill the defenseless Neutra at this time, and gain the power to promote Manos Grande. Or leave with Nilu. If you kill Neutra at this time, although you can gain more powerful power, your favorability with Neutra will definitely drop significantly. After only a few seconds of hesitation, Lin Sheng chose to leave with Nilu, and there will be more opportunities to be promoted to Manos Grande in the future. But if he kills Neutra at this time, then he will lose a powerful partner like Neutra in the future, which is really not worth the candle. The night was cool, and there were two figures, one big and one small, walking here on the wilderness. It was Lin Sheng and Nilu who were on the journey. At this time, they were far away from the battle site. Looking at the beautiful figure walking in front, Lin Sheng called out subconsciously, Nilu. Huh. Nilu turned around and looked at him suspiciously with her big golden green eyes. Can I call you that? Facing Nilu's gaze, Lin Sheng's huge dragon head said rather embarrassingly. After all, the two had just met, so he didn't know if such an intimate address would arouse Nilu's disgust. But it was obvious that his worries were unnecessary. Nailu was much gentler than in the anime. Of course you can. Then I'll call you Longlong, and you can call me Nailu. Nailu said happily. Hearing this name again, Lin Sheng still felt a little uncomfortable. This name didn't fit his aloof image. But forget it, if it's just a separate address for the green-haired beauty in front of him, he can still accept it. Nailu, are you Vasto Lord? I feel that you are much better than that Neutra. After the two gradually got to know each other, Lin Sheng couldn't help asking this topic. After all, it also related to his future path. Of course, he is very powerful. Nailu raised her small fist and gestured. Well, it's really powerful. Lin Sheng looked at the turbulent waves in front of him, and didn't know whether he was talking about strength or something else. Vasto Lord is the highest level Manos Grande of Hueco Mundo. It is about the same size as a human, and its number is extremely rare. Its combat power is above the captain level. What about you, Longlong? I feel like you are Manos Grande, but you don't seem to be. How strange. Nailu asked with a cute expression. I'm still a giant. Lin Sheng's big paw touched his head in embarrassment, and he was 3 levels behind Nailu. Oh my god. Longlong, are you just a giant void? Then wait until you are promoted to Vasto Lord. No. I'm afraid I won't be able to beat you at Jukas. Nailu said incredulously. But the Reiatsu I need for promotion is too much. Lin Sheng said with some worry. He also wants to promote Manos Grande, but Jillian's promotion to him is really limited at present, unless it is Klein's alien or at Juka's level. That's right. Nailu also thought of this question. But considering Lin Sheng's potential from another perspective is also extremely terrifying. But I believe that you will catch up soon. Nailu said seriously. Really? Then I must thank you then. Lin Sheng said with a smile. Thank you. Nailu looked at Lin Sheng rather strangely. What's wrong? Lin Sheng asked in confusion. It's nothing, it's the first time I've heard someone else say these 2 words to me. Nailu brushed his long lake green hair, showing a gentle smile. Really? Lin Sheng murmured. It turns out that Shu never said thank you. No wonder there was a slight pause in Hurley Bell's footsteps back then. At this moment, the place where Neutra fell. A tentacle monster with wings and a leopard cat with bone wings landed here. Master Apollo, there seems to be a battle here. Leopard cat Shu Klein felt the violent Reiatsu around him that had not dissipated, and reported to Zael Aporo. But then, he saw a figure lying on the ground in the distance. Master Apollo, there seems to be a wounded head there. Zael Aporo walked over directly, only to realize that the person on the ground was still his old acquaintance. Oops. Isn't this Neutra? Why are you lying here and sleeping? Zael Aporo said mockingly. It's Apollo. You're not in the Void Knight Palace, what are you doing here? Neutra opened his eyes and glanced at the visitor, then lost interest. There were a lot of ghosts who disturbed him before, but even if he was injured, it was difficult for ordinary ghosts to cause him any harm. As for why there is no interest in Zael Aporo, it is because this guy is better than himself. Zael Aporo actually joined Baragan many years ago, because he has not yet separated his soul. As Manos Grande of the same Vasto Lord level, he only belongs to Baragan in name. Usually, Zael Aporo's main job is to research and collect intelligence. As the chief intelligence officer of Zai Palace, he has intersected with some powerful Shu, such as the Mantis Shu Neutra in front of him. Baragan, second in the original Espada, Vasto Lord class Manos Grande, self-proclaimed king of Hueco Mundo, ruling most of the inner circle of Hueco Mundo. Of course I'm here to collect test subjects, are you interested? Zael Aporo smiled meaningfully. You can try it. Neutra jumped up instantly, and a powerful Reiatsu rose from him. Neutra recovered from that fatal attack in such a short period of time. Haha. Let's talk about who beat you like this, I'm more interested in that. Zael Aporo changed the subject. Except for the special steel skin, Neutra is really not interested in research. It's Neliel, that hateful woman. Not only did she not kill me, but she was so close to that dragon. Mentioning this, Neutra became angry. He swung his 2 boring knives to the ground, and immediately 2 huge ditches were formed here. This time, Shu Klein, the leopard cat, was terrified. A ditch stopped in front of him just now. It's better for him to stay away from this guy. He had heard Lord Apollo mention before that this Neutra is a fighting lunatic. Don't be so tempted to chop himself off, it will be really wrong. Nelialu. That's not surprising. Wait, Jiaolongshu. Zael Aporo suddenly realized, isn't Jiaolongshu the experimental subject he was looking for? Which direction are they going? Zael Aporo asked eagerly, even with a hint of madness. Ha ha ha, is he the experimental subject you were looking for? What a coincidence. Seeing Zael Aporo enter this state, Neutra suddenly understood. But you should give up. Neliel is with him, you have no chance. Neutra persuaded him, no matter how dissatisfied he was with Neliel's behavior, he could not question her powerful strength. What? Even the majestic Neutra is scared sometimes. Zael Aporo sarcastically said. Neutra wanted to explain, but Zael Aporo interrupted him. I will help you deal with Neliel, but give me the dragon. Neutra's face changed, but he didn't speak. But Zael Aporo understood that he agreed. From this point of view, they are still the same kind of people, and they are both crazy about their obsessions. Hawako Mundo Wilderness, a rocky area. Nailu, what are you looking for here? Lin Sheng, who was accompanying Nailu at the moment, asked with some doubts when he saw that she seemed to be looking for something. Well, I'm looking for the figures of Peishui and Dong Chaka. In the previous battle, in order to avoid affecting them, I stayed away from here. It's just that they are nowhere to be seen now. Is something going to happen? Nailu said worriedly. For him, Peishui and Dong Chaka were just like family members. Don't worry. They shouldn't go far. Lin Sheng comforted. Nailu nodded worriedly. At this moment, two voices of joy came from the side of the rock. Master Nailu. Two figures, one thin and one fat, jumped off the rock, and ran towards Nailu as soon as they landed on the sand. Finally found you, Nailu-sama. You have no idea how worried we are. The thin one spoke first. He had purple skin and was wearing a loincloth. He was Nailu's subordinate, Peishui. The fatter one is Donchaka, who is also one of Nailu's subordinate officers. He has a huge face and strange Madara points on his back. It's just that Dong Chaka belongs to the more emotional Shu, and he is crying and talking to Nailu at this time. This atmosphere has also affected Peishui, who is secretly wiping away tears. Although Peishui and Dong Chaka don't look very good, their concern for Nailu is sincere. Looking at this scene of parting from life and death, Lin Sheng really didn't know what to say. These two guys are definitely from the atmosphere group. Okay. Alright. Didn't I come back safely? Nailu comforted in a soft voice. Yeah. Peishui and Dong Chaka nodded heavily, and their emotions gradually calmed down. By the way, let me introduce you, this is my new friend, Longlong. Nailu said, pointing at Lin Sheng's huge body. Only then did Peishui and Dong Chaka realize that there was a huge monster beside them, and they were shocked and said, it's so big. These two are my family members, Peishui and Dong Chaka. Nailu introduced Lin Sheng this time. Lin Sheng nodded his huge dragon head, and then added, my name is actually Lin Sheng. Except for Nailu, it's better for everyone else to call me by this name. Peishui and Dong Chaka nodded subconsciously. Their Reiatsu level is probably stronger than Jillian's. It seems that they are both lower level Manos Grande, but their appearance is the same as Klein's, and they are all aliens. I still think Longlong sounds better. Nailu said innocently. The corners of Lin Sheng's mouth twitched a little. The name is not unpleasant, but it mainly doesn't fit my aloof image. In the next few days, the relationship between Lin Sheng and Nailu's group became much closer. The past few days are also the happiest times since Lin Sheng came to this world, but good times always pass by. Lin Sheng decided to say goodbye to Nailu. Longlong, have you decided to leave? Nailu said with some reluctance. Lin Sheng was the funniest Shu she had ever seen. His humor, wit, and whimsy are all different from others, especially when he mentions some beautiful things in this world. She is yearning for her even more. Well, I also want to be promoted to Manos Grande as soon as possible and turn into a human form, and then I will take you to the real world to have a look. Lin Sheng's huge dragon head nodded for confirmation. Like Manos Grande level and above, if they appear in the present world, it will cause a lot of panic, and it is unknown how many powerful Shinigami will be attracted, so generally Manos Grande rarely go to the present world. Okay, then this will be an agreement between Longlong and me, don't forget it. Nailu put away her parting emotions and said innocently. Well, I won't forget it. Looking at the gentle Nailu for the last time, Lin Sheng once again embarked on his own path of becoming stronger. He is going to the forest of Manos Grande, where he will be promoted to Manos Grande. It's become a solo trip again, Lin Sheng said with some melancholy as he stepped on the sand dune with huge paws. Suddenly, Lin Sheng noticed that there were 3 extremely huge Reiatsu rising from the direction behind him. Not good. Could it be? Lin Sheng looked in the direction where he parted from Nailu just now, and he had a bad feeling, because the 3 powerful Reiatsu erupted from there. I hope there's still time. Lin Sheng let go of his speed and galloped back to the place he just left. Time rewinds to a few minutes ago. Master Nailu, let's go too. Pei Shui said to the reluctant Nailu. Nailu nodded and looked away. Suddenly, a figure with 2 huge boring knives appeared in front of them. It was Neutra who was chasing after them. Neliel, our battle is not over yet. Neutra's sharp voice sounded. It's you again. As I said, we have no reason to fight. Nailu's face tightened, and she refused again. It's not up to you. Another 2 figures appeared here, Zael Aporo and Klein. It's just that at this moment, Shielaporo's tentacles have already strangled the necks of Pei Shui and Dong Chaka. Master Nailu. The strength of Pei Shui and Dong Chaka is not even a star and a half behind that of Zael Aporo. Although they are struggling to break free at this moment, the bondage is getting tighter and tighter. Pei Shui. Dong Chaka. Seeing this scene, Nailu went to the rescue. Nelialu, your opponent is me. Neutra's boring knife struck over instantly, forcing Neutra to fight him. Ha ha ha, now we can have a life and death duel. Neutra showed a frenzied look, and kept swinging his 2 boring knives at Nailu. But although his boring knife is sharp, it can't hit Nailu who has super fast speed. Instead he is bruised and swollen by Nailu's fists and feet. At this moment, Zael Aporo sneered and said, Neliel, your subordinate officer is in danger. After finishing speaking, he used his tentacles to buckle the masks of Pei Shui and Dong Chaka. Ah! Pei Shui and Dong Chaka shouted heart-piercingly because of the endless pain. This made Nailu distracted for a moment, and instead of Neutra who was fighting with her, she rushed towards Zael Aporo. Shu's mask is one of Shu's origins. If it is damaged, it will affect the advancement, and in severe cases, it will even die. I've said it all, your opponent is me. Neutra flashed to Nailu's side in an instant, and swung the boring knife in his hand. Nailu, who was already in a mess, suddenly paled. Suddenly, a dragon claw appeared in front of Nailu. Facing Neutra's incomparably sharp boring knife, this steel-hard dragon claw was almost cut off completely, but it still gave Neutra time to avoid the fatal blow. Fortunately, we caught up. Lin Sheng's voice sounded. When he arrived here, he realized that the situation was at its most critical moment. Long. Nailu, who came to her senses, shouted in surprise when she saw that it was Lin who died and came back. But when she thought of the current crisis, she immediately put away her joyful expression, and instead said worriedly, Long. You shouldn't have come back. How could I escape alone at this time? Lin Sheng said without hesitation, this is his dignity as a man. Lord Apollo, I'm talking about this dragon. Klein the leopard cat pointed at Lin Sheng. Hey, I thought he had already escaped. Zael Aporo dropped the Pei Shui and Dong Chaka in his hands, and walked straight to Lin Sheng. Zael Aporo. Lin Sheng looked at the approaching tentacle monster and couldn't help becoming serious. This guy's Reiatsu is much stronger than Neutra. It seems that Zael Aporo has not separated his soul at this time, otherwise he should be weaker than Neutra. Ah, what a good experimental subject. Zael Aporo kept marveling at Lin Sheng's body as if admiring a work of art. Are you a pervert? At this point, Lin Sheng simply let go. Anyway, a fierce battle is inevitable today. Hee, I hope you can still be so energetic on my laboratory bench. Zael Aporo didn't care about Lin Sheng's words at all. In his opinion, Lin Sheng was already in his pocket. At this time, Neutra also surrounded, which made the atmosphere of the scene even more dignified. Suddenly, a tentacle went straight towards Lin Sheng, and Zael Aporo took the lead. The green shadow suddenly blocked the tentacle, but a boring knife slashed at the shadow without hesitation, but the dragon-like body also rushed over. Boom. 2 collision sounds sounded. Nailu successfully blocked Shielaporo's tentacle attack, and Neutra was also knocked out by Lin Sheng. It seemed that they had won this round. But they obviously underestimated the strength of Shielaporo, and a purple Sero shone from his tentacles. At such close range, Nailu simply didn't have time to activate the Sero repertoire. Boom! The purple Sero hit Nailu directly, and a strong fire erupted, turning the place into a sea of flames. Nailu. Lin Sheng murmured, could it be that everything he did was useless? Although he prevented Nailu from breaking the mask, he caused her death. Shielaporo. Lin Sheng shouted angrily, his body of more than 90 meters was completely stirred up, and all Reiatsu burst out and went straight to Shielaporo. At this moment, a cold light flashed across at high speed. It was Neutra. After being hit just now, not only was he unharmed, but he also quickly launched a counterattack against Lin Sheng. Lin Sheng only felt a chill in the back of his body, turned around and found that he had been cut off at the waist. His scale armor and steel skin, which were as strong as steel, couldn't even resist Neutra's blow. In fact, this situation is understandable. Neutra is already at the peak level of Ijuka's Manos Grande, and although Lin Sheng can beat Jillian and other lower-level Manos Grande, he is only a giant virtual level after all. Boom! Two huge bodies fell from mid-air, setting off a cloud of smoke and dust. Neutra, you trash, didn't I tell you to live? Shielaporo asked angrily, this is his beloved experimental subject. Ha ha ha, I've tried to cut back as much as possible, besides, it's not dead yet. Neutra was in a very happy mood, not only killed Neliel today, but also killed this nasty reptile. Hearing what Neutra said, Shielaporo hurriedly looked at Lin Sheng who was lying there. Sure enough, after suffering such a terrifying injury, the dragon was still alive. But Shielaporo seemed to have noticed something, and exclaimed, it turned out to be high-speed regeneration. It's so wonderful. I'm more satisfied with this experimental subject. TCH, it's not dead. Neutra said rather annoyed. Suddenly, a green figure with traces of flame rushed out of the sea of flames. Neliel, you are still alive. Seeing that Neliel survived the Sero just now, Neutra was not surprised but happy. In this case, let's continue our unfinished battle. After finishing speaking, Neutra rushed over. In his opinion, the only way for Neliel to die in his hands would be the most fulfilling. Long. Nailu, who had just rushed out of the sea of flames, exclaimed when she saw Lin Sheng being split in half. Nailu, so you're still alive. Although Lin Sheng was very weak, he said these words with a smile. Although he couldn't die due to high-speed regeneration, the Reiatsu in his body was almost exhausted, making it very difficult for him to speak. Whoosh, whoosh. Neutra's two boring knives swung an afterimage, forcing Nailu to fight back. At this time, Nailu's condition was not very good. After receiving the Sero just now, although her life was not in danger, her Reiatsu dropped a lot. However, even in this case, Neutra does not have the slightest advantage and can only barely maintain the unbeaten situation, but he is fighting with enthusiasm. Just as Nailu was fighting fiercely with Neutra, Shielaporo took out a diamond and walked towards Lin Sheng. I didn't expect to collect such a great experimental subject, I can't wait, ha ha ha. Shielaporo said frantically. You will regret it. Lin Sheng said in a deep voice, at this time his body has basically recovered, but Reiatsu has been consumed. Studying such an interesting experimental subject, how could I regret it, but let's talk about it when you come to my laboratory. Shielaporo opened the diamond-shaped device in his hand, and actually sucked Lin Sheng's huge body into it. Dragon. Seeing this scene, Nailu wanted to rush over many times, but was stopped by Neutra. Klein, we're going back. Shielaporo yelled casually, and took the lead in flying into the sky, heading towards the Zai Palace. Yes, Master Apollo. The leopard cat Shu Klein also jumped into the mid-air after an attack forced Peishui and Dong Chaka away, chasing Shielaporo away at a high speed. Peishui and Dong Chaka first looked at the direction Klein and the others were leaving, then looked back at Nailu who was struggling with Neutra, and turned back to support Nailu without hesitation. Dragon. There were tears in Nailu's eyes, and then a terrifying Reiatsu burst out from her body, and gradually began to suppress Neutra. What's going on? Facing Nailu's powerful offensive, Neutra was a little taken aback. It was the first time he saw Nailu fighting like this, but this was exactly what he wanted. Very good, that's it. Ha ha ha. Although Neutra's body was getting more and more injuries, he ignored it and attacked Nailu even more frantically. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.